All right. What's going on, guys? Welcome to the PoundTown podcast. We had some setting errors earlier, but hopefully we're good now. It sounds like it's good. So, I'm your host, Ivan, and this is your co-host, Nick. Nick, if you want to introduce yourself real quick.
Yeah, thank you, Ivan, for bringing me on. This for those of you that have been following my mediocre podcast career. This is my third podcast now, so I'm looking forward to getting back into the game. And like I said, thank you, Ivan, for bringing me back on. Looking forward to getting into the quarterback tier ranking for 2023. And yeah, looking forward to it.
Awesome, Nick. If you want to pull up the tier list real quick, if you want to get started. Yeah, you sound perfect on the stream, so you're all good.
All right, sounds good. So we'll go by conference and then division just to keep it in order. So we'll start with the NFC. So we'll start with the NFC West. We'll start with the Cardinals. Their quarterback is going to be still rehabbing from his, I think, knee injury. But Ivan, where do you see him on your quarterback tier?
For Kyler Murray, right?
Yeah.
So for Kyler, I had him at 3 just because I feel like his ceiling could be like a 2 or 1. He had that one season where he went like undefeated half the season, like 7-0, 6-0, and he looked elite. He looked like he was the upcoming like new guy, that was going to take over the league. And then injuries happened, and then a lot of players just got injured, traded, or whatever. And then lately, you mentioned earlier that he doesn't take football too seriously, but you have to see where he's going to come back. Right now it looks like the Cardinals are rebuilding, and he seems like a little kid about it at times, So, yeah, but on a good season, he can be like a 2 or 1. But right now he's definitely at 3, and you could even put him as low as like 4 if you really wanted to. But where do you see him?
Yeah, so I still see the immature side of Kyler. I see the unprofessional side. I see a guy who the Arizona Cardinals organization had so little faith in him that they needed to require that he spend time outside of their facilities studying per week. I just don't know the way he treats the game, if that's something that's going to result in continued reliable success down the line. I think he's someone who could get you wins in the regular season because of his elite athleticism and quarterback talent. I'm not going to deny that. But as a leader, as a team player, as somebody who if I don't see you as having playoff potential, it's hard for me to rank you too high. So I had him at 4. For the sake of this, I won't be too bullish. I think a 3 is okay. I don't see a 1-2 ceiling because that would require him to get a lot of maturity. So maybe somewhere down the line, he'll have he'll be re-enlightened. But right now, I don't see that with the coaching staff kind of new, and him being a multi-million-dollar man. I don't think they're going to be able to rein him in line. So I think it'll be interesting to see how it ultimately turns out. But right now, with his immaturity, I would have him as a 4. But talent-wise, you could argue on the field he is a 2 or 3. So it's a good ranking right there at 3.
All right, cool. If you want to move on to that next player.
Yeah, so next up we'll go to San Francisco's Mr. Irrelevant, Brock Purdy, who led them to 7-0, but then ultimately got injured in the playoffs. How does he bounce back in year 2? Where do you have him ranked?
So I actually have him ranked in the same tier as Kyler for right now. I mentioned earlier that he's just like a wild card. Like, you don't know if last few weeks were a fluke. You don't know if he's going to just pick up where he left off, especially after the injury. Like, he could just fall off and like become like a 4 or 5 tier quarterback. So, but right now, you can't put him like 1 or 2 because we just haven't seen that consistency. And I mentioned the injury. So, yeah, I'll put him right there with Kyler. Like, you don't know what's going to happen. Like, he obviously has all the tools like to be successful. He has like his coach. he has all those offensive pieces, and then he has a great defense. So
Yeah.
he has the tools to come out and be good again, but we'll see if that continues. So what do you think?
Well, I always like to see a second and a third year from rookie quarterbacks. So for me, yeah, it was great. 7-0. He's got one of the best supporting cast as ranked by many outside sources in the league. 49ers have one of the best teams minus the quarterback. So taking that into consideration, he's got Kyle Shanahan, who I'm not going to deny is a quarterback whisperer. RG3, Matt Ryan, to name a few. They had those incredible breakout campaigns with Shanahan. So he knows what he's doing with quarterbacks. I like the fact that Purdy was a 4-year starter in college rather than a 1 or 2 year guy. I think it'll be interesting to see how he comes back, especially confidence-wise from a Tommy John surgery / an injury of that severity. But I think he's got a lot of supporting cast around him. I don't want to jump the gun on Purdy and say that he's up there. I had him as a 4. You could make the argument that he's a 3, but we don't know yet. There's still pages to be written in the Brock Purdy book.
Yeah, well said, Nick. All right, if you want to move on.
Yeah. So next up is the Rams. Matt Stafford, little banged up last year. They're coming back. They're not exactly what they were when they won the Super Bowl in 2021, but it was only 2 years ago. So where do you see him at this point?
So I actually have him in that 5 tier. I mentioned earlier before the stream messed up, I was saying that he's not completely terrible. He's not super trash. Like when I think of like worst quarterbacks in the league, I don't think of Matt Stafford yet. I think that might happen after this season. What team did he go to again? Is he still on the Rams or he moved? He moved on.
He's still on the Rams.
Oh, okay. Yeah, once he gets Cooper Kupp, he might pick up to a 4 tier, maybe a 3, maybe. So we're gonna have to see with him. But going off last season, and going into this season, like it doesn't look like he's anything better than a 5. Rams got like the number 6 pick, and then that went to another team. I forgot who that went to, but yeah. just coming off an awful season, I'm gonna have to put him at 5. I caught a few Rams games during the season, and he just like some of the throws weren't even like close, and looks like without Cooper Kupp, he just like he doesn't know like who he wants to like make that next guy. Like he'd even had like a bad core. I think he had like a good group of guys too, even after Cooper Kupp got hurt. So we're gonna have to see. But yeah, what do you think about him?
Well, I think last year it's tough for me to judge it all kind of on last year. He was banged up. The Rams were just all over the place. The offensive line was all battered up. They did lose Odell Beckham and Allen Robinson, and so I think not having time to get into the full swing of things because of injury, and he had hurt his arm, I think, leading up to the season, so I don't think he was 100%. I still think, based off all his years of experience, I was always a big fan of Stafford when he was in Detroit. He was doing a lot with very little. I still think he could give you 1-2 good years. I think he could make a playoff run because he's got the maturity and the experience. Let's not doubt McVay's offensive capabilities as a play caller. So I would still have him a little bit higher up. We can meet in the middle and settle at putting him in the 4 tier. But I still think Matt Stafford can give you some years of decent productivity. It just depends, I think, what he has around him. I don't think he's at the point in his career where he's going to be able to just carry a team that doesn't have anything. So it'll be interesting to see how the Rams come together this year.
Yeah, I forgot to mention, Nick, if you feel like you want to move a quarterback, if I say he's like a 5 and you want to move him to another tier, then you could definitely do that. Just let me know. I'm not mad at you putting him at 4. Because I'm probably being a little hard on him. It's just like the games I did see, it was just wow, it was like insanely bad. Yeah. So I mean, maybe he's not as bad as I think he is. But
I don't think he's quite a 5 yet. That's really low. I think given his body of work in his career alone, and the fact that just 2 years ago he won the Super Bowl MVP and had 41 touchdowns. So I wouldn't put him at quite a 5 yet, but this year, if it's another just abysmal season, then yeah, you could start to make the argument he's down there in the lower tiers. So next up, we got Geno Smith of Seattle. Now, this is a guy who came out of West Virginia probably about a decade ago, really highly ranked, busted in New York. Now he's found a late career resurgence. Where do you see him in your quarterback tiers?
So last season, I didn't really catch too many Seahawks games, but they did make the playoffs, right? Like they did do pretty well for themselves, I think. They just lost to the 49ers, I think I remember now.
Yeah. So
Geno Smith, I've never been a big Geno fan. I've always seen him as kind of like a joke, like I don't know, like people. I remember this one guy in my fantasy football league. He was saying he was better than Derek Carr, Geno Smith, going into next season, and I'm like, wow, like that's crazy because Geno Smith, he's had all these chances and but he actually proved himself, like going against the 49ers, like he can be trouble if you're not careful. I think he's one of those quarterbacks where if you don't contain him, and if you give him like a chance late in the game, he probably will come back. Yeah. He might come back and win. He's definitely not a 1 or 2. He might be scraping 3 because I don't think he's better than Kyler or Brock, but I do think he is probably better than Matt Stafford. He's definitely better than Matt Stafford. So I'll probably put him ahead of Matt Stafford in that 4 tier. But what do you think? What do you think?
Yeah, well, I agree. I had him in the 4 tier as well. I always, whenever a quarterback goes to the Jets, I feel a little sorry. I mean, that's never gonna go well. So, I don't want to hold what happened in his past against him. I think it's good to see the way he came out last year when the Seahawks put their faith in him and people were calling them crazy for just not trying to get anybody else. Mm-hmm. I had no faith in Drew Lock. I was not surprised he beat him out. However, for those who are like pushing the gas on the Geno Smith train, let's not forget that for the first time, even before Russell Wilson's been there, they get these 2 tackles in the rookie draft for once, beef up their offensive line. He's got DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett, 2 of my favorite receivers in the NFL, to go along with Noah Fant at tight end. Mm-hmm. You look at Walker, the running back, had a breakout rookie year. He has supporting cast around him too. I think he did what they needed him to do, but I don't think he was somebody that could get them over the hump against some of the better teams. Yeah. So I like the 4 ranking because I think he's someone that can win you games and you can be a decent team, but I don't think he has the capabilities to lead a team to a Super Bowl.
Yeah, I would probably wait before calling him a Super Bowl winning quarterback. He's definitely not that yet. He'll get you to the playoffs, but I don't know if he'll win you a playoff game against those elite teams. But if you want to, did you want to add something?
Well, I was just gonna say they did add another threat now in Jackson Smith-Njigba, so their offense only got more star loaded. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, I like the ranking at 4.
Awesome.
So we'll move on to the NFC East.
Yeah.
And we'll start. Cowboys fans would be mad if we didn't start with them anyway. So we'll start with Dak Prescott. Where do you see him in your quarterback tiers?
So I've been a big Dak hater my whole life. I think he's one of the worst quarterbacks in the NFL. So he's had amazing teams. He's had last year he had one of the best defenses. The year before I think he had Amari Cooper, he had Elliott, and he had CeeDee Lamb, and then he had I forgot his tight end, but he had he's always had good teams. His coaches have been whatever. They haven't been special. They're not the elite tier of NFL coaches, but this dude never gets the job done. You're okay, this is the season where he gets over that hump. Maybe he wins a few playoff games. He just never does that. You think, man, when is Dak gonna grow up? Fuck, he's lost me so much money on games, and
that's funny.
he never like wants to grow up. He's never progressed past his rookie year. He's never gotten better. Like I think the season opener of last season against the Bucks, he actually looked pretty good. They lost that game, but I'm like, damn, like Dak looks like better. He looks like more confident in himself. But
And then come to find out the Bucks aren't any good.
yeah, and then the Bucks turn out to be like a shitty team. But Dak, man, like, and then like if you need him to fucking win the game, lay in the. I always look at this. Look, I always look at if it's late in the game, can this guy get me down the field and like get a field goal or score? Fuck no. Dak Prescott has never proved that in his career. Like against the 49ers, I think it was
terrible.
Yeah, he like the clock management, like fucking god damn it, like he pisses me.
That year, but then last year too, he was terrible.
Yeah, he's god awful
in the playoff game.
He's horrible. I was telling my friend who's a Cowboys fan, I'm like, dude, in the when Trevor Lawrence was about to get drafted, I'm like, dude, trade Dak Prescott for Trevor Lawrence, or like stack up, like send fucking 3 first rounders and Dak Prescott for Trevor Lawrence. Just move on from Dak. I think the Cowboys will never win anything with Dak Prescott. They're never gonna do shit with him. That's how bad he is. So I actually like it makes me mad talking about him. I hate Dak Prescott. So I'll probably put him at 6. Yeah, that's where I would put him. But you can disagree, and so you can go ahead.
Okay, well, let me say that I'm glad to hear that I didn't have to get bullish, because I feel the same way about Dak Prescott. Oh, did I lose you again?
No, I'm still here.
Oh, you're still good?
Yeah,
okay. Yeah, so I agree. I don't think he's the guy. I think it was a big mistake when they caved into his contract demands and paid him.
Yeah, I remember that.
This is a guy who has, when he came into the league, he had the best offensive line in football.
Mm-hmm.
He's had, for the most part, he's had good running back. Ezekiel Elliott finally hit the fan and collapsed. But yeah, he's had receivers to throw to his whole career. He's had tight ends to throw to his whole career. The last 2 years, his defense led the league in turnover differential. First defense to do that since the Steel Curtain Steelers in the 70s. He's had everything around him. He missed at least a couple games last year, and he still was tied for the league in most interceptions. And when you combine with the fumbles, he just turns the ball over too much. And there were crucial possessions in the game in San Francisco in the playoffs. The interception, especially when he was targeting CD Lamb, it was just bad. He's throwing into double coverage, and he didn't have to do much in that game because his defense held Brock Purdy and the 49ers offense to they scored less than 20 points, and he couldn't even get 20.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I'd say he's a 6. That's bottom of the barrel. I want to say I had him in the 4 range because he showed, at least in the regular season, some capability. But I wouldn't mind meeting in the middle and putting him at 5 because I'm not gonna toot his horn.
Yeah, no, maybe I'm being a little harsh, but in that 6th tier, he probably is the best one out of that. That's gonna be putting all those quarterbacks. So I would probably, 5 isn't too bad. I would definitely take all those guys above him that are already on there.
Especially given his salary, like he's drastically overpaid.
He's one of the highest paid quarterbacks.
Yeah.
I would have just cut bait with him every year. I feel like the Cowboys, they just want to move on from him, and they can't. You know the front office isn't going to do that. You know Jerry Jones, they love Dak.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Dak is a good guy, like off the field. He does all.
Oh yeah, I'm not blasting that at all.
Yeah, he's a good guy for sure. But as far as quarterbacks, like I would not want him on my team. He holds you back tremendously. There's not much.
And I know some objective Cowboys fans. They don't like him either.
If you put imagine you put Aaron Rodgers on the Cowboys with those weapons that he's had, the best like offensive line and all those receivers. Like
Yeah.
imagine what he could do, or any like Joe. I mean, Joe Burrow has a good team. Maybe like a Derek Carr. Even that's an upgrade
Yeah.
from Dak. I mean, like holy hell, like Dak just pisses me off like every
Yeah.
season, and yeah, he's just bad.
Well,
Let's move
I
on.
would. Yeah. So we'll move on. We'll flip it to their rival, the Eagles, and Jalen Hurts. Huge season last year for him, taking
Yeah.
his team all the way to the Super Bowl.
Uh-huh.
How do you see him in the quarterback tiers?
So as far as tier goes, I feel like he's definitely one or two. I'm kind of deciding. I'll probably put him in that one range for now because he would be number one. Like we wouldn't have to think about it if he won the Super Bowl. He was like, he was like what, like a few like points from winning that Super Bowl. Like there was like a bad call. I feel like in every sport when the best player on that championship team wins, they just call him the best player. Like I don't know if you watch basketball, but Nikola Jokic, he just won the NBA Finals, and people are calling him like he's the best player in the NBA.
Best player in the NBA. All of a sudden, he's a top 10 NBA player all time, and it's like
all
let's pump the
time.
brakes.
Yeah, exactly. Like people,
Yeah.
it's just like a lot of recency bias. But
Yes,
I
it
mean,
is.
his team did go like 16-1 or something last year. Or
Yeah, they were crazy.
yeah. So I mean, his team is also very good. It's not like he's carrying the team, but he checks like all the boxes for me, like for IQ, for athleticism, for like accuracy. He's mobile too, and that helps a lot. So I'll probably put him in that one tier, for sure. Yep.
So I had him in the 2 tier, and let me explain why.
Yeah.
The Philadelphia Eagles have arguably one of the best offensive lines in the league.
Yeah.
Their front office is extremely aggressive, which is good because they give their fan base a winning team.
Yeah.
The biggest move they made was getting A.J. Brown. A.J. Brown made Ryan Tannehill the top quarterback rating passer in the league.
Uh-huh.
A.J. Brown's impact cannot be denied. If you look at that, Devonta Smith was finally coming into his own.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think everything he had around him. The big thing that I don't like either is I don't think the quarterback sneak. You should be able to push the quarterback.
Oh yeah, I agree.
That's a rule that obviously the NFL is not changing. I think it's ridiculous. But so they had that play, and everybody can speak for themselves. But I was getting a little sick when I watched the Eagles games.
Mm-hmm.
Every time it's 3rd and short, 4th and short, they're just doing the quarterback
Bullshit.
sneak.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's a little boring, and it's the same thing over and over, and it was working like 90% of the time. So that play frustrated me a little bit, and I think given again everything that's around him,
Mm-hmm.
they have a good defense, all the pieces on offense. I think he benefited from that. We will see what the impact of his offensive coordinator leaving has on him. But I wouldn't put him in that one range because I don't think he's earned it yet.
Mm-hmm.
He made perhaps the most devastating play of the Super Bowl when he fumbled.
Oh yeah.
And he just lost the football.
I mean,
so I think he still needs to earn that. When we get to some of the other quarterbacks in the league that I think are in the 1,
Mm-hmm.
I think I'll be able to explain the difference. So I would move him into the 2. What do you think?
Yeah. For now, you can move him into the 2, and maybe if we want to change it later, we could do that.
Okay.
But yeah, like you mentioned earlier, he has like one of the best teams, all around teams in the league, and I mean, you give him the pieces, and he got you to the Super Bowl. Like winning it against Mahomes that's like kind of like a harder task, but for what he had, like he did his job. Like he did what he was supposed to do, and he did it.
Yeah.
He did it like in a dominant fashion. Like he went 16-1. There weren't really any close games in the playoffs. Like except
we can't forget the Niners game though, because we don't know how that would have turned out if the Niners had Brock Purdy instead of the 4th-string quarterback that couldn't play quarterback for his life.
But yeah, that's fine to put him there. But He's
Yeah,
he's definitely up there with the quarterbacks for sure.
yeah, yeah. I would agree. Daniel Jones for the Giants. He's up next. He just got a big extension.
Uh
What do you make of his season last year and what he'll be this year?
huh.
Are you buying it?
So, it's just kind of the same with Geno Smith. I didn't really see too many Giants games, but I do know they made the playoffs and they were like a solid team. Uh, Daniel Jones, I'm not a believer in Daniel Jones. Like, his team isn't that bad to where he's like where he has to stay at this level of play. You know, like he had like Coach of the Year, right? Brian Dubar.
Uh, yeah, Dable.
Yeah,
Yep.
Zabel. Yeah, like he has a good team. Like it's not like he's like his team is trash and like that's why he's trash. Like a Baker Mayfield situation. Like he really doesn't
Mhm.
have any excuses. He has Saquon, a good line, defense is decent, I would say, and he has like some decent throwing options. But as far as like him as an individual, I think he's probably in that DAC tier at 5. Like again, do I trust this guy to get me down the field at the end of games? Fuck no,
No.
not Daniel Jones. I think he's like kind of an idiot sometimes. Like he's a big guy, like, and he's good for his size, like because he runs a lot. But
Mhm.
yeah, I don't trust this dude. I don't trust him to get down the field. So I'll probably put him in that 5 tier. But what about you? What do you think?
Yeah. Well, I had him. I had him in the 4 tier with Dak, so that they're in the same tier now. I think they're in the same tier. They were in the same in mine. I don't agree with all the criticism of Daniel Jones because I was a big supporter for years of Eli Manning. Same way I feel about quarterbacks play for the Jets. It's the same thing when you play for the Giants. So as I was saying, he's had one of the first offensive lines. His defense is bottom 10 in the league. So when you take that into consideration, and then tell me his offensive weapons like Darius Slayton. I mean, these aren't exact. He doesn't really have true number one. Like, give him an AJ Brown. So, I don't know if you heard what I was saying, but no true number one. His coaches aren't offensive minded, and even his offensive coordinator is nobody special. The one thing he does have is Saquon, but the other end of it, Saquon Barkley led the team in receptions. So that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't think he has that much around him. He got this team to the playoffs. So I do give him credit for doing that, and if they can continue to put some pieces around him, it'll be interesting to see uh, how he continues to develop. But I would put him if we're gonna leave him in tier 5. I'd put him above Dak.
Oh yeah, definitely. I definitely trust him more than Dak. I trust about like any quarterback in the league other than Dak. I don't care for Dak at all.
Well, Dak has had way more than him. So simply if you put those two things into consideration,
Uh huh. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. If you want to move on to the next one, or you know what? Let me
Yeah, so
let me
the
just
last
say let me just say this last thing about Daniel Jones.
Yeah, go
I
ahead.
was actually like when he got drafted, he just has that name like Daniel Jones. Like he sounds like he's gonna be like a good player in the league, and I was kind of believing him. I was kind of waiting for him to like kind of take off maybe because he was drafted pretty high. He was like a 6 over like
Yeah.
he was like a fucking top 10 pick, and he just
Yeah, I think he was like 6 or 7. Yeah,
and
something like that.
he's always stayed in like in a lower tier of quarterbacks. So I mean, is it fair to call him a bust? Do you think, or what do you think?
No, and that's what I said. There's not anything there. So number 2 in receptions is Richie James Jr. Well, I mean, who's he throwing? This is bad. As I was saying, yeah, no, I wouldn't say Daniel bust. I think he's had a lot of pressure on him being in New York, a lot of spotlight. I I, I think unfair expectations maybe we placed on him, but I think it'll be interesting to see how they continue to move forward if they get him a couple weapons and to see what he ultimately becomes. But I don't think the ship has sailed for him. I still think he's got stuff to prove.
Yeah, he definitely has some stuff to prove, being at like a top 6 overall pick.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you want to move on to that next.
Yeah, yeah. So the last quarterback in that division making starting for the first time. Not his rookie season. He did sit out last year, but it's Sam
Yeah.
Howell for the Washington Commanders. What do you think of him?
So Sam Howell, I don't really remember too many games of Sam Howell. I remember Taylor Heineke games for the Commanders, but I don't really remember Sam Howell. So
Yeah.
if you want to call this one, I would probably put him at a 5.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'd simply had him at 6 because he's unproven.
Okay. Yeah.
And so the big thing for me is I remember that. So he hasn't played in the NFL game. So I don't think, at least he hasn't started. So
Yeah.
or maybe I think he may have started one game last year at the end of the year.
Mm-hmm.
They put him in one, but this is not a guy. I remember watching him at. He beat up a lot of bad teams in the ACC. He's not a game changer. A little reckless with the football.
Yeah.
I'll be interested to see how he transitions into the NFL in a starting role, especially again on a team that doesn't really have that much around him. And with a coach like Ron Rivera, I think he'll be protected a little bit because they'll probably rely on the running game and short passing. But this is not a game changer. I don't think he's a world beater. He can by all means prove me wrong, but he simply has proven nothing to be any higher than a 6.
All right, cool. If you want to move on.
Yeah, so we'll head over to the NFC North now. And one of the biggest sensations of last year was Justin Fields.
Uh-huh.
Where do you see him in the quarterback hierarchy?
So Justin Fields, man. I've never been a big believer in Fields, but just because I'm not a believer doesn't mean, he's not good. I know last year he had that signature win against the 49ers. It was that rainy season. I think it was week 1.
Yeah.
So, I mean, a lot of Bears fans, I know a few Bears fans, they always say, like, they make a lot of excuses for Fields. They say his offensive line is ass, which is probably true. But even even with that, I don't know if I feel comfortable with him making, like, just having, like, a winning season with the Bears, Like, when the Bears drafted him, the fans were like, oh, my God, he's the savior. And when he got to the team, I know it was trash, but he seems like just pretty reckless. Maybe he turns into a Jalen Hurts when he gets all those pieces around him, because they kind of have that same play style, that same build,
Yep.
like that run and gun
Yep.
feel. So maybe he has that ceiling, but I'm not a big believer in him. You have to see, because he did get like some new pieces, and this
Right.
this fucking list is like a mix of last season and what you think they're going to be this season. So maybe I probably put him, if we're just going off last season, I'll probably put him like 4 or 5. But with all the additions they have, and I don't know if they got a new coach on that team, but I'll probably put him at the bottom of 3 tier, so right behind Kyler Murray. Because I would still take Purdy, I would still take Kyler and Hurts over Justin Fields, and
But above Geno and Stafford.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can go ahead.
Yeah, so I had him in tier 4. I wouldn't be opposed to putting him in tier 4 ahead of Geno and Stafford.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not convinced on his accuracy and his arm. I see the scrambling. He had over 1,000 yards. But this will be the year we find out. The Bears, in my opinion, made the right move trading the first overall pick, or not, maybe it wasn't first overall, but whatever pick they had, trading it. It was first. Okay, yeah. Trading that pick, getting it out, getting DJ Moore from Carolina. Oh, yeah, it was first. Getting DJ Moore from Carolina, getting those picks. They give him a receiver in DJ Moore that is very capable in this league. So if he can't get the passing going this year, that's a big indicator of what he'll be, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is the best receiver he's going to have here in the NFL. So it'll be interesting to see there. But still, I think he was like 60% completion. Not a great touchdown-interception ratio. So I would have him, if you want to put him in the front of tier 4, but I had him in tier 4.
You know what? Looking back at it now, we probably should put him in tier 4, because I don't think he's better than Geno Smith. I'll probably take Geno Smith right now. So yeah, right there is perfect. That's perfect.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. So next up is uh, old reliable Kirk Cousins.
Kirk Cousins, man.
Where,
Okay.
where do you have him in your quarterback tier?
So Kirk Cousins, um, it's funny because if you look at his numbers over the past seasons, they're actually pretty good. They're not even that bad. Like to where
No,
you
they're not.
to where you could call him like, oh, this dude doesn't produce. He actually does
Yeah.
produce.
Yeah.
And for the Vikings, he's like the perfect he's the perfect like we're not gonna overspend. We'll give this guy a decent amount of money. He's like Jimmy G on steroids. Um, he gets the job done. Is he a Super Bowl winning quarterback? If you have like a stacked defense and everything goes right, yeah, I think I could see it happening. But is he gonna will a team to a victory? Probably not. Um, he's not like next level like superstar Mahomes. Definitely not. I probably put him because he's been very consistent over the years. I'll probably put him in that 3 tier right behind Kyler Murray because I'll probably still take Kyler Murray just for the ceiling.
Yeah.
Because I think we can all agree that Kyler has a higher ceiling than Kirk Cousins. But just the consistency over the years, I'll probably put him at 3. Um, yeah. What did you think of Kirk Cousins?
Yeah, yeah. So I'm gonna have to stand some ground on this one
Yeah.
because Kirk Cousins now, I want to say he's gonna be 36 by the time this next season rolls around.
Yeah.
Um, he's to me starting to show signs of age,
Hmm.
and I never believed he was somebody that was like an elevator of teams.
Hmm.
He's pretty safe. He's pretty cautious. That's something he's been criticized for. He'll take the completions the defense gives to him, sure, and he puts up good regular season numbers. I'm not gonna. But this man has very little to no postseason success in his career,
Hmm.
and those numbers. I mean, he's had Diggs, Thielen. He had a good tight end. Then he gets Justin Jefferson. They get rid of Diggs, and Jefferson is
Yeah.
arguably one of the top receivers in the league.
Mm.
And I don't know if you watched one of the higher rated games of last year, the Vikings Bills game. That guy was just throwing it up to Jefferson, and I hope he pulls it down. And Jefferson was pulling it down. So
Mhm.
this is not somebody to me that stands out. I'm sorry, Vikings fans. You're not going to the Super Bowl with Kirk Cousins.
That's
Um,
funny.
so to me, a quarterback that has like a cap on him
Mhm.
can only be so high. And if I was a GM or team builder at this point, like I would want Geno, Fields, Stafford over him. I would
Oh,
probably
man.
put him somewhere in that 5 tier with Dak and Daniel Jones. I had him in my 4, but he's around to me. He's around Daniel Jones and Dak Prescott, so I would have him somewhere in there.
Yeah, if you want to put him in that above or no in 5 tier in front of Daniel Jones, I wouldn't be
Yeah,
mad at that. Yeah, Kirk Cousins when he makes mistakes, they're Dak level, like Dak esque. They're like, why would you do that? That was so bad. It wasn't even close. It's
yeah,
not. It's not like this dude has like God given like talent. He doesn't have like a rocket arm from what I've
no,
seen like Vikings games. The
he,
Vikings
he, yeah,
they did pull off
he's a
like a lot
solid
of
regular season quarterback.
yeah, like they did pull off a lot of cool regular season wins last year. Like I think a lot of games were close. Um,
Yeah, they led the
so
league in one score wins.
yeah,
That doesn't usually repeat itself twice.
yeah, like I think a lot of games were decided by less than 6 points, and he's like won like at least like a lot of them, like 7 of them. So he
They
get
actually had a negative not run, a negative point differential.
oh really?
Yeah, so that just shows you right there, uh,
Yeah,
what they were.
yeah. Actually, I kind of trust him to get down the field, just because of Justin Jefferson. But if you take away like elite guys,
Yeah,
as wide receivers, he probably doesn't. So it probably just
yeah.
depends who he's with. But
Hmm.
yeah, he's pretty consistent, but he's not amazing. So I'm not mad at putting him at 5. That's like okay, yeah.
So next is Detroit's Jared Goff. Um, he started in this league as a rookie with Jeff Fisher. He was god awful. Sean McVay comes in. It's better. Then the clouds started to appear. They had to get Stafford. He goes to Detroit, and now he's blossoming there. Where do you have him?
So Jared Goff, never really been a big fan of him. My brother actually got to meet him when he was over at Berkeley. He was at Berkeley, right?
Yes,
That's
yeah.
where he went. So he's not he actually is kind of terrible to me. Um, he's kind of sneaky. Like he'll actually pull out a game at the end here and there. Like he'll pull it out of his ass. Like I don't know how he'll do it. Like a few calls will go his way on his team, and he'll pull out a win. So as far as like physical attributes, like abilities, yeah, he's not elite in like any category.
Yeah.
He's kind of like a serviceable QB, but obviously now going into the season, maybe the Lions can make a run with him. Maybe they can win a few games, like 8 games. But I don't see a Super Bowl. I see playoffs actually, but maybe like a first round exit in the playoffs for the Lions. But I'll probably put Jared Goff in front of Daniel Jones in that 5 tier.
So I actually have Detroit winning the NFC North, and a big reason why is because of Jared Goff. I think he's been someone. It's odd. I wasn't a big fan of his, but they've rallied around him,
Hmm.
and he's played well. Last year he played well. The biggest issue for him when he was in LA it was the turnovers.
Hmm.
He cut that back. That shows improvement to me. He turns the ball over less than Dak Prescott. Um, and I think he's a better passer than Cousins and Daniel Jones. So I would either put him into that 4 tier or the front of that 5 tier because I do believe, and he's displayed this, they could take a team to the Super Bowl. Whether or not they'd win is one thing, but I think he displays that ability. And yeah, I'm not as big of a critic on him as I once am. I think he's proved it doing it 2 places and doing it without McVay. Where do you think?
Uh, yeah. I definitely give him credit for getting to that Super Bowl back then. Pretty sure the team was stacked in I think it was 2017 or 2018
Yeah,
or 2018.
2018, I think it might have been.
Yeah, but yeah, I don't have too much to say about Jared Goff. Like I watched a few games over the years. I think his signature game last season was when they knocked the Packers out of the
Yeah,
playoffs. That's kind of where I'm basing because I don't watch a lot of Lions games, but I'll tune in here and
yeah.
there. I'll see they have shootouts. He is kind of reckless, so that's why I kind of just put. That's why I have
Well,
him in the 5 tier.
okay, so you want to keep him in the 5. You don't think he can get to the 4 tier?
If you want to put him behind Matthew Stafford, then I'm not. I don't want to be mad at it. That's kind of fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So last up, and this is, I mean, good. I'm curious to hear your evaluation of this, but Jordan Love, Green Bay Packers, finally getting the torch to start.
Yeah.
Where do you envision him?
So Jordan Love. Well, first of all, it was really weird that the Packers drafted him a few years ago. They could have like got maybe a receiver. I forgot who they could have gotten instead of Jordan Love. They could have got
A lot of
Jefferson, I think. They could have got Justin Jefferson. But they went and got
Yeah.
this guy. I don't know what they saw in him. I haven't seen too much of his college film. But to take him in,
Great.
yeah, he was a first rounder, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so man, he's got to turn out really good, like for the Packers, like because you basically threw out a Hall of Famer quarterback, one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, for this kid, because this guy definitely sent like a bad message to Aaron Rodgers. But as far as Jordan Love himself, I've seen a few games from him. I don't see like what the Packers saw. Let's I don't like Jordan Love. He doesn't have a lot of like good weapons. Like these guys are average. Like
Yeah.
they're not anything special. So maybe once they get some weapons around him, the offensive line is pretty good in Green Bay. So that's not going to be an excuse for him. Um, I would probably put him in that 5 tier, right behind Daniel Jones.
Okay.
Because I actually have some trust in him. Like I want this kid to succeed, and I believe in him. I think he's gonna be like a decent player in the NFL. Like once he start getting starts and once he starts getting good players, but because we have such a small sample size and we haven't really seen too much, we have to start him kind of low. So I'll put him in that 5 tier next to Daniel Jones. But what do you think?
I must say, when he was at Utah State, I never felt like he was something special. I think they reached and drafted him. I think Green Bay's trying to, like, ooh, look what we found out of
Yeah,
Utah State.
yeah.
I think it's going to come back to bite them. I think if you look at his speed and his dual threat capability, it's not even in the upper tiers. If you look at his passing capabilities, I mean, we really don't know how it'll translate to the NFL, but it's not like he's got a Josh Allen rocket arm.
Mm.
So I don't know what Green Bay saw. You mentioned they don't really have good receivers. I would rather put him above Sam Howell in tier 6 just because he's not proven anything. Um, but it's up to you.
Uh, I feel like even though Jordan Love, we haven't seen that much from him, he's still a better quarterback than what I've seen from Dak Prescott, because Dak Prescott is just horrible, awful. He deserves to be in the XFL. I don't know why he's in the NFL. I'm a better quarterback than Dak Prescott. Our second string over at school is better than Dak Prescott. Like, I'll put anyone above Dak Prescott. So, I mean, let me ask you this: who do you trust better, Dak or Jordan Love to get you down the field if your life depended on it? I'm pretty sure you're taking Jordan Love. I don't think you'd take Dak.
I don't know if I could take Jordan Love because I haven't seen it.
You're gonna
I
die
haven't
then.
seen it.
I'm just kidding.
But just for you, we'll put him in tier 5 for now.
Uh-huh.
And we'll put him above Dak. So that concludes the NFC North. We'll head over to the NFC South now, and perhaps what will be one of the most interesting stories is to see how this young man out of Alabama, Bryce Young, pans out.
Uh-huh.
Where do you see him in 2023 amongst the quarterback ranks?
So Bryce Young. So I'm actually a believer in Bryce Young. I don't have anything personal against him. He gives me a lot of Justin Fields vibes. Like he's like part of this new age of quarterbacks where they're like running gun, like Justin Fields and kind of like C.J. Stroud too. He was from Alabama, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, Alabama. Of course their team's gonna be stacked, so it's gonna make him look good. So I wouldn't say like, oh, he's gonna come to the NFL, it'd be amazing. The Panthers are rebuilding, so it's like perfect for him to like make mistakes, maybe his first season, and then come back the second season and play a little better. So yeah, I don't see him coming into the NFL and dominating. I actually see him, doing pretty bad. Like Trevor Lawrence, he got hurt in his first season with the Jaguars, but you could see like Trevor Lawrence, like once he got to the NFL, he struggled. Like it was like a whole new game to him. So I think
it took a year.
That same reality is gonna hit Bryce Young
Yeah.
with the Panthers. So I'll probably put him to start off right next to Justin Fields in the 4 tier, because I give him the respect being the number 1 pick, but there's still like some question marks like how he's gonna pan out in the NFL. So yeah, I'll put him at 4. What do you think? You think you think he was worth that number 1 pick?
I do think he was. There's only one other quarterback in that class I probably would have considered ahead of him, and that's Hendon Hooker. But a lot of people were not high on him because of his age.
Yeah.
Because he's been in college a little bit longer.
Yeah.
But that's another story for another day. As far as Bryce Young goes, I do agree with you. I think it's not going to be a smooth transition from Alabama to going from a team that usually has some of the best players on the field to the team that's going to have some of the worst players on the field. They don't have a fleet of receivers waiting for him, and the offensive line is suspect. They don't have a Christian McCaffrey back there anymore.
Hmm.
Um,
That's true.
new coaches coming in. So I, I don't hate the 4 because I had him in tier 4, but I also had him like with that herd of I think he's better than Kirk Cousins, Daniel Jones. Um, but I would struggle currently to put him above Stafford and Goff because I got to see, can he handle the beating in the NFL? He's got a more wiry frame.
Hmm.
So we could keep him in tier 4, but I'd probably move him to the back of tier 4 for now.
Yeah, that's a fair evaluation. So you want to put him there? So you would trust
Yeah.
like a okay. So if you had to bet money, you would trust a Matthew Stafford led team over a Bryce Young led team.
I mean, if Matt Stafford is healthy, now I don't know what his condition is because they're not just going to openly tell us that. If his
Yeah.
arm is still bad, then no. But I'm going to be under the assumption that he's recovered, and then yeah, I'm gonna trust somebody who's been in this league for that long with that kind of an arm,
Uh-huh.
with his stature. I don't know how is Bryce Young going to fare against these NFL defensive linemen, the physical beating.
Hmm.
As someone who is a Fresno State fan, I know the toll that takes on someone. Look at David Carr,
Oh yeah.
who was sacked out of this league. So uh, we'll see how he can handle that and how he goes in Carolina. Um, but I do like his intangibles a lot. Don't get me wrong. That kid put some unbelievable drives together in Alabama late in games.
Hmm.
And I think if he can handle the beating and get a little bit bigger, I think he could have a long career in the NFL.
All right. Let's move on to your favorite quarterback.
Yeah, Derek Carr getting a clean slate, clean start.
Yeah.
Thank you God, in New Orleans. How do you rank him here for 2023?
All right. So this might throw you off a little bit because
Oh dear.
obviously I'm a Raiders fan, so I've seen plenty of Derek Carr games. I've seen plenty of Derek Carr comebacks. I've seen plenty of Derek Carr fuck ups. Uh, just like bad plays. Like, damn, bro, really? I've seen him throw it out of bounds on 4th and 3 just to save his like completion percentage. I don't know, like just to save like
Um,
not getting a sack. Okay, but Derek Carr. So my evaluation of him, I feel like he's kind of that type of quarterback where a lot of things might have to go his way for him to be successful. Maybe a call, also like a part like the coaching staff too. Like going off of this season, like past season, I think him and McDaniels obviously didn't merge together good. I think the reason why
no.
Rick Bisaccia the year before was so good with Carr is because he would give Carr so much freedom at the line. He would let Carr like audible out of bullshit,
Yeah.
and he would let Carr like control the offense. I think McDaniels,
Yeah.
he thinks he's this guru. He thinks, oh, I play with Bill Belichick. I
Yeah.
know more than you, Carr. I've actually won Super Bowls. So
Yeah.
he's like, you better listen to me. You better believe in this play, or it's my way or the highway, basically with Josh
Yeah.
McDaniels.
He's bullish.
And Carr, Carr, like I feel like Carr, if he doesn't believe in this shit, if he's like, man, this play's ass, we're gonna run it, but I'm not gonna care. Like I'm just gonna kind of like go through the motions. I'm not gonna like believe in the play. I feel like plays are different when you actually believe in it, and
Hmm.
the whole team is bought into it. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's why I feel like the Raiders struggled to close out so many games, and that's why the offense like struggled last season. Like it was bad. Like you just don't know like what the Raiders are doing last season.
So
So
who do you pin that on now? Is that on Derek Carr? Is that on the coaching staff? And what's your assessment now that he's going to New Orleans? Where do you see him ranked?
okay, so I'll probably so to answer your first question, I'll probably pin
Yeah.
it most on Carr because I know you're a Carr fan, but there's just games where man you can't blow like all those leads. Like okay, so I went to the Rams and Raiders game Thursday night. Carr didn't score. I don't think Carr scored any touchdowns. Josh Jacob scored one touchdown. He ran it in, but like all the Raiders needed was one like passing touchdown from Derek Carr. I think at the end of the game he throws an interception, and these are like this is to a Rams team that doesn't care anymore. Like they're gonna get like a top 10 pick. Like they're on their way. They're tanking, and Carr couldn't beat them, man. Like that did it for me because I went all the way out to Los Angeles. I spent all that money on those tickets, and Carr like it's funny because Carr he's a little inconsistent. Last year he looked like it's funny like last year Carr looked like a real like not MVP, but he looked like the MVP of the team. Like if we have Carr, then we have a chance in the game. Because the Raiders, you know, they don't have the best rosters all the time. They don't have the best defense. They've never had like a really good defense. Last year, Carr looked like a superhero, and he won us a lot of games. Like against the Chargers, Week 17, I went to that game, and Carr looked like God. He looked so good. He made all the right plays, and that's because of Rispaccio, like I mentioned.
Yeah.
And this season, it just looked the offense looked forced.
Bad.
Yeah, it looked bad, man. So, on the Saints, I think he's gonna do pretty good because you look at all the skill positions and they have it all. I think Kamara might get suspended, but they still got that anime loving running back from the Lions. I forgot his name, but he has a good personality. They have him.
Yeah.
They have Michael Thomas. They have Olave and one more guy I'm forgetting. The offensive line is solid. The defense is pretty good too. And I feel like that whole division is kind of rebuilding. You know, it's not in the best shape. So Carr is set up to have like at least a 10-win season, for what I'm seeing and what he's given. But his Raiders legacy, like, it sucks because on his way out, he kind of struggled. It looked bad. Yeah. He didn't let the team trade him. He's like, nah, I'm gonna not waive my no trade clause. You guys are not gonna get shit from me. So
why would you?
I mean, like, damn, like I understand that, but fuck, man, like we moved heaven and earth to get his college fucking best friend, and you're
Hey, if anything, that was dirty play by the Raiders because they trapped him in there. The only reason Adams went over there was Carr.
Yeah, no,
and
yeah.
now they're kicking Carr out the back door. And now Adams is stuck there. So that is your guys' own fault. Your management is terrible.
If I'm not mistaken, I think Devontae Adams growing up, he was a Raiders fan. I think he's from California. He's from California, so it might have if I'm not mistaken, like it's like his dream place to play at, like growing up.
It is, but so. Adams is also someone who likes to win, and he wants to play with a good quarterback, and he wants to win, and so. If you guys can't figure it out early, it's gonna get messy early. I promise you that.
So yeah, like in conclusion, going off last season and kind of combining what I expect from this season, I think he's gonna be right in that third tier, right behind Kyler, because I would still take Kyler Murray over Carr just because of the ceiling as a player, like individually. I think Carr is better than like all these guys below him right now, and he's set up to have a good season. So Carr's gonna look good. He might even be an MVP candidate. He might win like fucking 13 games in that division. But it just sucks how he went out on the Raiders, man. I wish it could have went out better. McDaniels and Carr they definitely didn't mix, and the chemistry it wasn't a good fit. But yeah, what do you think about Carr? Do you blame Carr for how the Raiders' bad season last season, or do you blame McDaniels? What do you think?
Well, let me just start by saying I don't hate where you put him. I had him in tier 3 on my list. Now, in my list, he was above Murray and Purdy.
Yeah.
But I did have him in my tier 3, so I didn't hate that. Number 2, if we talk about last year. I'm sorry, McDaniels and him, it's just not a good fit.
Yeah.
Now, they had the leading rusher in the NFL, and someone needs to explain to me why they were 23rd in play action. That's not you don't call, that few a play action. And then the first week Stidham comes in, 8 of his 9 first passing attempts are play action. So I wouldn't hesitate to call what they did to Derek Carr at the end there sabotage. So that's a whole messy situation. I don't really care to go into much. I blame the coaching staff because I watched a man for almost
A decade.
uh, yeah, almost a decade. It was like years.
Yeah.
Have how many different head coaches and carry this team that never had a defense. Um, and I don't forget 2016 where he led them to the playoffs and was third in the MVP voting. I know he's capable. His defense, since he's been in the league, dead last,
Yeah,
ranked
that's
32nd
terrible.
in the league.
Yeah.
So now that he's going on to the Saints, it's going to be his best defense he's had in his career. You mentioned the talent around him. I do agree. I don't know if they're going to get Kamara back,
Yeah.
but they're still going to have a lot of pieces there. It's a way better, well-run organization. Um, and I think they're going to give Carr a little bit of freedom at the line of scrimmage, and they're going to trust him because he's worked. He's worked with some of that offensive staff before when he was in with the Raiders.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm really looking forward to next year as far as the Derek Carr story goes. I know everybody's down on him right now because of last year,
Yeah.
but I don't think last year is an indication of where he's at as a quarterback. I think last year is an indication of just how bad the Raiders organization is and how much trouble they're in. And yeah, I don't hate him being in tier 3, but I would have to insist that he go above Kyler Murray because if you look at the leadership and the personality, Derek Carr is a way more reliable person than Kyler Murray.
Oh yeah, yeah. As far as like, as far as just reliability, yeah. Because Carr, like, he's not gonna do any bullshit like Kyler. Like, they're not gonna have to make him study film. They're not gonna have to make him actually care about fucking warming up. But yeah, man, it sucks, man. Because Carr, like, I thought Carr was like a. The Raiders were like horrible. They kind of are like. Well, not they're not horrible now. They're more respectable. But there was a time where the Raiders were just god awful, and Carr made them like kind of respectable.
Yeah.
So I give him props for that. Like he actually turned the Raiders into like a better respected organization. No one had the Raiders making the playoffs last year, and we made it because of Carr. I can say that. Like I give Carr
2 years ago. 2 years ago.
Oh yeah,
You're saying.
Oh yeah, when they had Rick Bisaccia, like I give him credit. I give him his flowers. Like, especially
When Ruggs gets arrested and Gruden gets fired, he carried that team into the postseason.
Yeah, the whole fucking organization was looking for like a leader at that time because everything was going wrong. And I think David Arnett, he left that season too. He's a former first overall pick, not overall, first rounder, and he fucking left because he was being an idiot. But yeah, like Carr, he was definitely a leader when times got tough. Last season, it just went bad. I wish it would have went better. I saw Carr like doing something with his college teammate. Like I really envisioned that. I had him winning MVP actually, because I thought they were gonna set the league on notice with that duo they had from Fresno State.
Oh yes.
But yeah, did you want to say something?
No, I was just gonna say he's got a good head on his shoulders and he's a leader and the players know that and players rally around that and I think now that both sides of the ball are even because like I mentioned when he was with the Raiders combined in his 8-9 seasons dead last in defense.
Yeah,
I think this year. Yeah, I think this year people will be able to see sides of Derek Carr they haven't seen since 2016.
All right, yeah. All right, we can move on if you want.
Yeah.
Did you want to add something? My bad.
No. Yeah, moving on. We've got Desmond Ridder of Atlanta. played in 6 games last year. Went 3-3. Was nothing spectacular, but he was nothing terrible. What do you make of him?
Honestly, I haven't seen one full Falcons game last season, so I'm not gonna lie and act like I know a lot about this guy.
Yeah.
But Desmond Ridder. I mean, he's the rookie, right? He got drafted last year.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the Falcons, they don't have a lot to work with. I mean, they did get that tall receiver. I forgot his name, but he got hurt like in the middle of the season.
Drake London.
Yeah, Drake London. He gives me like Mike Evans vibes. So they need to like build around that offense more. think they drafted the running back, right? Bijan
Yep.
Robinson. Yeah,
John Robinson from Texas.
yeah, he's getting some weapons. It's too soon to really call him like a bust or he's trash. I think he's kind of unproven. From what I've seen, it's like what you would expect from a rookie quarterback. Like
Yeah.
like a rookie quarterback that's on a trash team, like it's kind of what you would expect. So you can kind of handle this one. Maybe put him in the with Sam Howell because we haven't seen too much.
Yeah, in mine I had him in tier 5 because I like you said, I think for a rookie quarterback he's kind of just done, 3-3 with Atlanta.
Yeah,
Obviously they have Kyle Pitts. They're going to want to get him more this year. Drake London coming back, Bijan Robinson. There's pieces there. I think this season, now that he's the full starter, he's going to have a full training camp with these guys. It'll be a better indication of where he's at. But yeah, I'm not going to fight. I think tier 6 is good for now, but we'll put him above Sam Howell
yes,
since
that sounds good.
he's played in a little bit.
Yeah.
So yeah, next up, Tampa Bay, the sinking pirate ship, you can call them. They've turned to Baker Mayfield. Where do you rank him in your quarterback hierarchy?
So Baker Mayfield had a lot of hype coming out of college. It was kind of like what's his name, Johnny Manziel. Like it kind of gave me that vibe. And ironically, they got drafted to the same team. Baker Mayfield, he kind of he's kind of passive aggressive lately. He likes to blame the team. I think in an interview last year he was with the Browns, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he was with the Browns, then he was with Carolina, then he was with the Rams.
Yeah, he was like, "How can you blame me? Like, look at my team." And that came off as it was kind of a big deal at the time. But Baker Mayfield, like he's pretty average. Like you're not gonna win a Super Bowl, you probably won't make the playoffs. You probably get a top 10 pick if he's your quarterback. So I'll probably put him. I'll probably put him right behind Jordan Love because I'll still take Baker Mayfield over Dak Prescott because Dak Prescott is god awful. He's just terrible. So. Baker Mayfield, it's funny because I saw him play in real life when I went to the Rams and Raiders because
that Rams game. Yeah,
he was actually the quarterback, and the Raiders they literally could have won the game. Like he's nothing special, but he did have that late comeback. Maybe with the Buccaneers, he revives his career because lately, like the last 5 years or his whole career is like kind of been ass. He likes to blame other people. That's his thing. He blames Hugh Jackson. He blames his team. I forgot Stefan. I think it's Stephen Stefanski. That was the Browns head coach. He blames him, so he kind of points fingers. I don't like that. Like, just own up to it. He's not humble. The Raiders beat him,
and then there was stuff that comes out like when I think he was complaining about fans in Cleveland. They were like starting to boo.
Yeah,
and he's like, well, how would you like it if I cubicle and boo you? And it's like, you're a quarterback in the National Football League. When you're playing bad, you're gonna get booed. And so I actually am gonna be a little bullish on this one. Baker Mayfield's trash.
Yeah, he is.
He was 2-8 last year, 1 win in Carolina and 1 win with the Rams, but congratulations, you beat the Raiders. And he is a distraction. He is a cancer, a team cancer. It's all about him. It's never his fault. He's not that good. He holds on to the ball too long. He rolls out into edge rushers that are rushing, and then he gets sacked, and he gets mad at his offensive. I don't think he can see over them. So that's why he rolls out. But he's not fast. He's not in good shape. There's nothing really good about this guy. He relies on all his natural talent, which is why I don't think he's got, which he doesn't strike me as someone who goes and studies. He's a cocky player, and I don't think this is what Tampa Bay needs as they just lose Tom Brady and they're trying to figure out what direction to go into. Mm-hmm. You bring in this Baker Mayfield who's going to make it all about him. So because he's such a detriment to a team, I would actually have him last, tier 6, after Sam Howell.
Oh, you think he's like terrible, terrible, huh? Like he's like the
Yes,
worst.
terrible, terrible.
This is the thing. I feel like if he doesn't like win at least like 8 games with the Tampa Bay roster next season, then he should retire. Because if you can't win with that, like the team's not even bad. The team is not bad. Like he doesn't have an excuse. They just won a Super Bowl like 2 years ago, 3 years ago.
Yeah.
So he can't be like, oh, this team sucks. You know, what was this team before I got here? It was a Super Bowl-esque team before you got here. They actually made playoffs. So, I mean, he doesn't have an excuse. Like it's just like down. Like he's never been a likable person to start off. So, yeah, it kind of makes me mad talking about him. Like I don't really like this guy.
Would you fight me putting him in tier 6?
Is Dak better than Mayfield? I don't know about that one.
Well, the thing that I would turn to with that is I don't think Dak is a distraction in the locker room. I think he's a leadership position. So just off that alone, I would rather have Dak Prescott.
Oh man. Yeah. I mean, do what you want with this one. This is kind of yours because I've been kind of controlling the other ones, so you can.
It's good.
Yeah, you can do that one.
Yeah. All right. Well, now that concludes the NFC, so we'll jump over to the AFC, and we'll start in the AFC West, the most loaded quarterback division. We'll just start with Pat Mahomes.
Oh,
where do you have him?
Okay, I was kind of caught off guard by this, but yeah, Mahomes definitely he's one of one. He deserves to be in that top tier. I feel like he's the greatest quarterback, not just in the league. I'm not gonna say all time yet, but he's definitely on that way. Like I'm a big Pat Mahomes fan, even though I like the Raiders. Like my friends get mad at me. They're like, "Why do you like Mahomes so much? You're a Raiders fan." Like Mahomes is the truth. Like he deserves every dollar he's getting paid by the Chiefs.
You're honest with it. That's good.
Mahomes is like, look, they took away one of the best receivers in the league, Tyreek Hill, and he wins the Super Bowl. Like you can't do that with any other quarterback. If you take away Adams from Rodgers last season, I don't think he makes playoffs. If you take away Diggs from the Bills, I don't think. The Bills probably make playoffs, but they're not as like deadly, you know. Mahomes, for what he's given, I mean, he has like the best tight end in the league. But even with that, like his receiver options are pretty average. They're not elite. They're nothing special, you know.
Yeah, no, they're young.
They're fast, but they're not like special. Like Mecole Hardman, he's pretty average. He's not like elite, but it's like this dude plays the game like he's having fun. He plays at his own pace. The greatest game I've ever seen Pat Mahomes play was probably that Niners Super Bowl. They were down, and he came back. Everything he did was so perfect. If you go back and watch that, this dude, you can't count him out. You could be down like 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter, and you're still not safe from Patrick Mahomes. He's gonna come back and win.
Yeah.
He's the perfect quarterback. He's mobile if you need him. He can be a pocket passer if you need him. He can gunsling it if you need him. He can play the screens now. So like I was saying, Mahomes can do like literally everything. I think when you compare him to the other all-time great quarterbacks, he matches up all of them really well. He probably would have won the Super Bowl. So in Tampa Bay, like when he lost that Super Bowl against Tampa Bay, I feel like Tampa Bay was just a better team. Like Mahomes, like he was getting fucking terrorized. Like the line couldn't block from him. The defense was just too good, you know. Georgia terrorizes college football teams. It was kind of like that.
Yeah.
Mahomes really couldn't create. So I don't hold that Super Bowl against him. And then ever since he's been a starter, like he's been pretty good. I have him at number 1. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I think he's the best quarterback in the NFL. I think when you count in the thing that impressed me the most was when Tyreek Hill left, the ability to still get to the Super Bowl. Yeah. Patrick Mahomes showed something to me that was often my biggest criticism of him, is that he was always looking for the home run plays.
Oh, yeah.
This year, he slowed the game down. Mm-hmm. He was taking what the defense was giving him, and he showed that look, if you're not going to give me downfield, I'm just going to keep picking you apart till we get into the end zone. And I think it was in the second half of this last year's Super Bowl against the Eagles. I think they scored on every possession in the second half. So it was a masterful performance. I give it to him. I don't think there's a quarterback in the NFL currently that is above him.
Yeah, Mahomes is way too good. It sucks for the Raiders, man. Like, if the Raiders make the playoffs, they gotta make it to where like they avoid
Good luck.
Mahomes. They gotta avoid Mahomes until it's the AFC Championship. That's the only way they're getting to the Super Bowl. If they face Mahomes first round, second round, then it's gonna be tough. But yeah, Mahomes is definitely one of one, and he's special, man. Like he's gonna be, when it's all said and done, I feel like he's gonna be the best. He has like the total package when it comes to quarterbacks.
Yeah, that'll be an interesting debate when he is ultimately done to see where he'll be at. So next is Herbert for the Chargers. What do you think of him?
So this coming off this past season, I feel like Herbert. There was like big expectations because of the defense, but I know one of their corners got hurt. I forgot his name, J.C. Jackson, I think. He got hurt, but even without him, the defense was supposed to still be good, but they kind of blamed injuries, like, and then his fucking targets, like his wide receivers aren't the best core in the league. He has Mike Williams, who's underrated, but I feel like Keenan Allen he's overrated. He's not that good as people make him out to be. His tight end is kind of average. I feel like his running back's really good, but I think in order to see like Herbert at his peak, to really bring out his full potential, you need to add more weapons. His coach needs to expand more on the offense. Like, their offense is ran really poorly. I feel like it's not a smooth offense. It's not like Justin Herbert. He's a gunslinger. So why do we keep doing like single back formations, like these play action formations? Like, put him in shotgun and let him work. You know, like Mahomes or Burrow or Josh Allen.
Yeah.
They're using him wrong, and they used him wrong last season. Yeah, there was definitely a lot of expectations, but going into this next season, I'm not sure who they added. Like, I know they're gonna probably keep Austin Eckler, but it looks like they're gonna be the same team.
Him.
Yeah, I think it's a head coaching problem. Justin Herbert is a good quarterback, but head coach or offensive coordinator, they need to run that offense better, and then they'll be on their way to a 10 or 12 win team. But Herbert, I have I probably have him right behind Jalen Hurts. I think that's like a perfect spot for him. But what do you think?
Yeah, I think that's spot on. I had him in tier 2 in mine. I was big on Herbert coming out of Oregon. He's got the size at 6'6". You don't see that every day. I do agree with you. I think the Chargers offense has been poorly run these past couple of years. They fixed that. They bring in Kellen Moore from Dallas, who's considered one of the smarter offensive minds in the league today. So I think they're going to fix that. I think they're going to use him better. That's why I'm not going to hold too much of last year, which was probably his worst season.
Yeah.
Because he had a good rookie campaign. Sophomore year threw 38 touchdowns. So I'm not going to hold last year against him. I want to see how he is now that he's got an offense that's probably going to be more creative and tailor it around him. So it'll be interesting to see that. But yeah, I like it. Tier 2, I agree. I think he's one of the better quarterback talents in the league today.
Yeah, he definitely has my respect.
Yeah. So next, this is an interesting story and an interesting one to rank. Russell Wilson, he often considered one of the best quarterbacks in the league. Last year, absolutely terrible. What do you think? Is it fluke or has he reached his cliff?
I'm not gonna say he's fallen off the cliff yet. Last year was definitely a terrible season, and it's weird because he doesn't have a lot of excuses. Yeah, his running back got hurt, but I mean he still had one of the best defenses in the league. His defense has actually held opponents really to low points. Like, it wasn't like the defensives are scoring 30 a game and it's like he scores 24 and like, damn, bro.
They were one of the worst scoring offenses in the NFL.
Yeah, like I would watch him against the Colts. there was a lot of like he had a lot of Thursday night games. Like, dude, like what are you doing? He just forgot to play football last season. So so they're banking on Sean Payton saving the fucking franchise right now, and maybe he taps into Russell Wilson's full potential and he becomes good. But I mean, as a Raiders fan, I like Russell Wilson playing like shit. We need more of that actually. So, but maybe with Sean Payton, he actually plays a lot better. I'm not sure what other pieces they added, but going off of last season's horrible season and then the new head coach going into this new season, I'll probably put him right behind Geno Smith because he still has to prove himself, and I think the Broncos, they did get like a top 10 pick, and that ended up going to the Seahawks to get Witherspoon. So
yeah,
Russell Wilson is he needs to prove himself because he's on the hot.
He does.
He's on the hot.
And they have him on a big contract.
Yeah, so he's got to produce or something, man. Because this is crazy. Like there's a lot of disappointed fans. Like So
yes, they were.
What do you think? Why do you think the Broncos struggled last season? Where do you have Russell ranked?
It's tough because I saw Nathaniel Hackett lead Aaron Rodgers to some 1 seeds and some MVPs. The other thing is maybe that was just Aaron.
Yeah.
And maybe Nathaniel Hackett does suck. So we will see. Is it the coaching? Was the coaching bad? I think Nathaniel Hackett being a first-year head coach could have meant that the rest of the team wasn't acting professionally. But Russell looked bad last year. I don't think he's going to get back to what he was. I think that's come and gone. I think even the last couple years in Seattle, again, he was throwing to DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett, who one-on-one down the field, they're considered some of the best deep threats in the game. So I don't think he's going to get back to what he was, but he should be a serviceable quarterback, someone who you can win 10, 12 games with, like you said.
Mm-hmm.
And I think with Sean Payton in there, someone who knows how to run a football team as a head coach, I think Broncos should get back in that double-digit win territory. So I had him in Tier 4. I like the Tier 4 placement because I don't think he's no longer someone who can eke out 1 and 2 type play, but he should be a consistent quarterback and a smart quarterback with all these years behind him.
Yeah, last year I saw a lot of like overthrows. I saw a lot of indecisive decision making. Like it was just bad. Like I don't know what got into him.
The offense looked lost and confused.
Yeah, like damn.
Yeah.
So
next up is your new guy, Jimmy G.
Oh man.
What do you make of him coming to Las Vegas?
So yeah, I've never been a Jimmy G fan. When I first heard this news, I was actually devastated because I was looking forward to getting like a new like young guy like a Stroud, or like I thought they were going to trade for Aaron Rodgers and be bold because that would have been perfect with Adams. I thought I was one of those fans. I know it might seem delusional, but I thought they had enough to do it. But yeah, Jimmy G, like, shoot, I think we can all agree like he's been carried by the 49ers defenses these last few seasons. People like to say like, oh, he's made the Super Bowl, like he's gonna make the Raiders like good. Like no, that's not how it works. Like you got to look at the whole. Like casual fans are gonna say like, oh, he's been a Super Bowl. The Raiders got a Super Bowl playing quarterback, but he's actually horrible when you look at him. He's on the level of like in my opinion. I don't know if you think this, but he's on the level of Dak when it comes to decision making. When it comes to skill, he doesn't have a good arm. He doesn't have like a lot of good IQ. The reason the 49ers have not won a Super Bowl yet is because of him. Because down in stretches of games, he sells them. He throws picks. He just can't get down the field. And if you want to use him as like a system quarterback, like just screens and like handoffs and like a dummy quarterback, fine, you can do that. But is that gonna win a Super Bowl? When shit hits the fan, like, and you're deep in the playoffs and you're playing like the Eagles or you're playing like the Chiefs and you need like to get down the field, you're not gonna do that with Jimmy G. So if you played like the long game and if you run the ball like the 49ers did and you play good defense, oh yeah, you could win games. Like Like, and
Yeah.
he's like definitely a bridge quarterback. Like, and they're trying to save money by signing him, but the thing
Yeah.
is, they didn't do anything with that saved money. Like, I don't know if they're just low on money. Like, did they not have enough like cap space to get like like they maybe a Jalen Ramsey? I don't know. Like, I know they have to trade for him, but they didn't sign any good defensive pieces. They're probably gonna lose Josh Jacobs.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
So I kind of don't understand like this move. If you weren't gonna do anything to the defense, you probably should have just got Aaron Rodgers. I would have been happy with that. The fans would have been happy. Um, but paying that type of money for tickets to go see Jimmy G play football, like, man, like I don't know if it's just me, but I don't see the hype in this guy. Like he's definitely a bridge. Like Raiders fans are like, oh, he's good because we can get like Caleb Williams next year, whatever. Or like I don't know, Drake May. I think that's the guy's name. Next year's
Yeah,
draft.
you don't want him from North Carolina.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, they're definitely trying to like be like the Niners and kind of like do what they did with Trey Lance, kind of just have him. This is kind of perfect for McDaniels. Like I said, when we were talking about Carr, Carr fucking argued with McDaniels a lot, and
Jimmy's not gonna do that.
yeah, he's gonna be like, oh, you want me to do this? Okay, let's do it, and he'll probably do it with a good attitude too. He's not gonna fight anyone. I don't know if you saw the clip, but Carr was talking to McDaniels about the play, and then Josh McDaniels was like, just run the fucking play. He actually said that to Carr in the game.
Yeah, I believe it.
Yeah, I
believe it.
It's like a clip I saw. I'm like, no way, and that kind of tells you.
I haven't seen that, but I believe it.
Yeah, Carr was like, you want to do this? Like, I think this is better. And then, like, in the game, he's like, just run the fucking play. He told that to him. So Jimmy, like, he's a nice guy. I would rather have Carr, man.
Everybody likes him in the locker room.
Yeah, he's not gonna step on any toes. He's handsome, so the girl fans and for the Raiders, they're gonna like, oh yeah, let's go see Jimmy G. Like, fuck, man, this bridge quarterback. It's not saying the Raiders up to win a lot of games. You think in a shootout with Patrick Mahomes, they're not gonna do anything with Jimmy G. Like, they're gonna have to hold Patrick Mahomes to under 20 points, and that's not happening with the Raiders defense.
I was just gonna say that's not gonna happen.
Yeah, or the fucking Chargers. They have like they can get explosive on their offense. Is Jimmy G? No, like I don't, man. Thinking about it just kind of makes me mad. Like I was like bummed out by this news, man. So I mean, it puts my expectations low for the Raiders. So if they do play good, then I'm like, oh okay, like I'll be kind of happy. But every game I'm gonna be like, damn, Jimmy G's our quarterback. I know they got Aiden O'Connell. So he might start faster than we think because Jimmy G might just play so bad, and McDaniels, he has a big ego. He's just gonna pull him like the second week or third week. Yeah. So
and O'Connell's got a good arm. I watched a decent amount of Big Ten football, and that guy's been on my screen sometimes. So I was interested in you guys drafting him, and we'll see what happens there. But where would you put Jimmy G at this point in the tiers?
I'll probably put him in that. I'm being really harsh, but I'll probably put him in that 6th tier.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the Raiders fucked up with this. Like, I know it's not as bad as it seems because now everything's gonna move a lot smoother. But if you want to win like playoff games, if you want to win those Sunday night, Thursday night games like against marquee teams. You should have went over you should have went for like a gunslinger. Like, I don't like Jimmy G. And the Raiders defense isn't even good enough to like support Jimmy G like the 49ers did. So
right. The 49ers were able to hold
teams
to less than 20 and score a 20-point winning game.
Looking back at the 49ers teams, you could say their biggest weakness was Jimmy G every single fucking season.
Absolutely.
And the Raiders go get this guy. So I don't know. But what's your take on Jimmy G?
I put Jimmy G in my tier 5. I think if you want to put him at the front of tier 6, you're the Raiders fan, so we'll let you have that one. But he is somebody at this point in his career. I'm not big on him anymore. I believed that when he was in New England and then he first came to San Francisco, that he had some good attributes, but I think it was in his second year in San Francisco he tore his ACL, and I feel like ever since he did that, it's such a drop off. I mean, he was good in the pocket. He was like sidearm throws. He would escape every once in a while. I have not seen the same intensity from him in terms of playmaking capability since that injury. So at this point in his career, I think he's a system quarterback. I think with McDaniels, that's kind of what they want.
Yeah.
You know, McDaniels doesn't want to get another headstrong quarterback that he's going to feud with.
Hmm.
And, you know, if they win 3-4 games and they get the first pick and they get Caleb Williams, I'm sure that's what Vegas wants. So, uh, congratulations for them. But yeah, I don't hate the top of tier 6. I think at this point in his career, he's just a system quarterback.
I
So,
thought I thought you were gonna be mad at me and be like, "What? You think Jimmy G's that bad? Like he's at least a high end 5." I was like, be like, "Nah, bro. Like
no,
he's
I used to
ass."
think very highly of him. I'm not joking. When he was in New England and his first year in San Francisco, he was a different guy. And I don't know if you watched him then, but trust me, he was a different guy. Since then, I see what you see. He makes bad throws. He gets very crunched and nervous in the pocket, and he's not really going to make big plays for you.
Do you remember? I forgot who they played. I think it was a regular season game, but he stepped out of bounds in his fucking own end zone. He stepped out
Jeez.
like you know like a
And
safe.
got a safety?
Yeah, do you remember that? I think it was against the
No,
Rams. I think it was against the
I
Rams.
must have missed that. That's bad.
He stepped out of his own because they were so backed up. They were like at their 1 or 2 or whatever. This dude's backing up, looking around, see who to throw. He steps out of bounds without realizing it. His awareness is that bad. You step.
Yeah.
Oh my god! At least get sacked maybe in the end zone. At least try. He didn't even get the ball off. He stepped out of bounds and the refs like called it. He didn't even realize it. So this guy is like, his awareness is terrible. Like, oh man. But the Raiders are in for like a fucking shit show of a season. I feel like with
Yeah.
Jimmy G. So we'll see.
So we'll move over to the AFC East, and Josh Allen and the Bills. You know, the Bills situation with Stephon Diggs,
Oh
button
yeah.
heads a lot of disappointment. They haven't been able to get to the Super Bowl. Where do you make it, Josh Allen? Do you buy it? Do you not buy it? Where do you rank him?
Um, I still have a lot of respect for Josh Allen. Like, he's definitely like a tier 1 quarterback. He's probably right behind Mahomes, I would say. It's just he hasn't gotten over the hump. He hasn't beaten Mahomes. Everyone thought this last playoff series that he was gonna beat Mahomes, but he didn't. So he's a little bit overrated. He just needs to get over the hump, and people will finally give him his respect. Because it's kind of to the point where your team, you don't have an excuse. Your defense is good. It's top 5 probably. Your offense is good. Maybe he needs a running back. Maybe that's gonna get him over the hump. But usually when we see Super Bowl winning teams, they don't even have like an elite running back. They have like
Yeah.
like a mid tier running back.
Yeah,
Like
or just a committee.
yeah, just like a committee, like a good like 3,
Yeah.
and they'll get it done. So I don't think that's the problem. His coach isn't the problem. His coach is good. So it's really
Yeah.
on him. He just needs to get over the hump, and he'll get some more respect. I don't think I would ever put him over Mahomes, but he's
Yeah.
definitely in that tier 1 next to him.
Okay. So I had Josh Allen in my tier 2
Mhm.
because I still feel I think part of the reason they're not getting over the hump is a little bit of him. He he forces things, um, and I saw the difference in his play with and without Stephon Diggs. I think he's been a different guy. Obviously, having that number 1 receiver. But when you take Stephon Diggs away, he gets frustrated. He forces things. He had a lot of red zone interceptions last year,
No, yeah.
and last year in the playoffs, he just didn't look good. So I have him in tier 2, but I'm not going to deny his arm talent, his ability to escape and scramble. So this is a big year for him because I think another disappointing end to their season. Like he needs to have one of those games where he just dominates, because otherwise, I think it'll be hard to argue he's tier 1. if they still can't get to an AFC Championship or a Super
Mhm.
Bowl.
Yeah, a lot of fans are probably just like kind of fed up with them at this point. They're like, dude, like, come on, man, like, it's your time to like get
Yeah,
over that hump, and I think that's what a lot of NFL fans are annoyed at. Um,
yeah,
but as far as skill goes, he kind of checks all
yeah,
those
and
boxes.
that's the tough thing because yes, he's very gifted.
Yeah, he has that arm, he has that accuracy, he has the IQ, he has the competitiveness. Like he'll take a hit, you know, if he's scrambling.
Oh yeah.
He's a big guy. I know he runs a lot for yardage. He scrambles, you know, so he just needs to get over the hump and he'll get his respect. But he's definitely, I feel like he's in that tier one for me.
Okay. And where do you have Aaron Rodgers uh, now that he's with the Jets and not a great season last year, but new conference, new team. What do you think of him?
Um, so I'll probably put Aaron Rodgers in the in the uh, in the first tier because
Oh.
I mean before that he was winning back to back MVPs. I think last year he was just being like kind of a drama queen. Like you know the whole thing where oh I'm gonna retire or if
Yeah,
you don't
yeah.
trade me, and then he played the season. So I feel like he was playing the season like not really caring what happened. He's like, oh, if we make playoffs, we make playoffs. Like you guys should have. I should have been gone. I should have been gone like last season. I should have been gone. So I think now that he's bought into these this Jets team, and he's like, it looks like he's happy to be there with the new teammates.
Yeah.
I see him at like basketball games with CJ. What's his name? Gardner. Uh,
Yeah, Sauce
yeah,
Gardner.
Sauce Gardner. So he likes his teammates. He's kind of one of those quarterbacks where like if he's pouting, if he's pissed off, he's not gonna play good. And
Yeah.
if his morale is high, then he's gonna play amazing. You know.
Yeah.
Uh, so it looks like the morale is high with the Jets. I think Robert Saleh. He's in good hands with Saleh. Um, so yeah, I think this season he's gonna come back and he's probably gonna make playoffs. I wouldn't be surprised if they made a good a deep playoff run. As far as skill, he's not as mobile as Mahomes or Josh Allen, but I feel like his IQ, his passing accuracy, and his arm makes up for it. Maybe that falls off this season because he is getting older, but
Yeah.
I think he still has it. I think last year he just had like a lot of rookies. He had like a lot of average receivers because they got rid of Adams. Like, and that's what causes morale to go down. He's like, "Fuck, man, these guys can't catch the ball." Like, and it's horrible having an Aaron Rodgers with no good targets. You know, all he needs is one
Yeah.
guy. He got it done with Devontae. Not got it done, but he was really successful with Devontae Adams. He just needs that one
Yeah.
guy. Now in the Jets, they have a few dudes that could be really good. I think they drafted even one more good receiver for him. I forgot his name. Um, but
Yeah.
they do
Well,
have some. Yeah,
Garrett Wilson, rookie of the year last year, I believe. So
yeah. Like this.
he's got a target.
Yeah, these guys. He has targets now that are better
Yeah.
in Green Bay. The defense is going to be good, so he's set up to have a good season. So yeah, what do you think about him?
Yeah, I'm gonna fight the tier one placement at this point in his career. I don't disagree with you on last year. It's a good point that part of it probably was not only the bad receiver play, but stubborn Aaron Rodgers kind of
Yeah.
I'm not buying into this. I'm not coming to the training camps.
Hmm.
You know, probably he was probably half-hearted in practice because he didn't get his way, and losing Devontae Adams, he probably wasn't happy about that. So I'll concede that a little because I had him in tier three because I think he's showing ages of decline. First double digit interception season, I think in like definitely in over 10 years. So I think he's showing some bits of the aging, but I'll concede I would give him a tier two, but I don't think he's a tier one guy at this point in his career. Especially if you look at the playoff performances of the last couple years, they had one seeds, they had home games in
Oh
Green
yeah.
Bay. He got bounced by Jimmy G in the snow, and he got outperformed by Tom Brady the year before that. So, uh, and then last year eliminated from not making the playoffs by Jared Goff and the Lions. So I think I can meet you in the middle at tier two. But that's where I would have him at this point.
No, yeah, I get it. I wouldn't hold that San Francisco game against him because I feel like that game they should have won. I don't know if you remember, but they blocked San Francisco blocked the punt, and that gave them great field position. If they would have got that punt off, Jimmy G, like I said, he's not going to get you down the field, and the Packers defense is good that year. So I think he would have won that game, and I don't know if he would have won the Super Bowl
To
against.
me, you just have to score more than 10 points. I mean, you're the
Yeah.
1 seed. You're the MVP. You're at home. Score some points.
Yeah, well, I
But
mean, that's
he
fair.
starts playing. Aaron, to me, in the playoffs, at least these last couple decade, he's playing not to lose, and it kind of shows. I don't think he's as free with the ball.
Uh-huh.
But we'll see. Obviously, this year, in terms of where he's at in his skills, age-wise, what he can do with the Jets now that he's claiming, like you said, that he's happier and in a better situation.
So let me ask you this: how many games do you think
Yeah.
the Jets win this season?
If we do a preseason expectations and standings,
Oh, okay.
we'll get to that.
Yeah.
There. I haven't looked at all their schedules, so I don't want to
Oh, yeah.
say anything yet. But yeah.
That's fine. Yeah, we could definitely do that later on.
Yeah. So let's go to the Patriots now. They got Mac Jones, I think coming for his third year. What do you make of that situation in New England?
Damn. I'm actually a believer in Mac Jones. Like, he won the Heisman, and I was happy for him. Out of Alabama. I thought he was going to come in. I thought the 49ers should have took him with the third pick. Because even if he does lack a little, like, throwing power, a little accuracy, he's kind of perfect for them if they love Jimmy G so much. Trey Lance is more of like a wild card. Like, you don't know what you're going to get from him. He's kind of like a Justin Fields type of guy. Looks like he likes to run. He looks like a mobile guy. But Mac Jones would have been perfect, in my opinion, for the 49ers. For the fucking Patriots, he's good for them because you know how Belichick, he doesn't like guys arguing with them. It looks like Mac Jones, he kind of just does what he's told. But he is lacking in the skill department a lot. He needs to throw it harder. He needs to get more in shape. He's not the most athletic quarterback. Last season was pretty horrible. I don't know what it was. He was a Pro Bowler his rookie season, and now he's kind of ass. I don't know, but I'm still rooting for him. He's still my guy. I wouldn't be mad if he came to the Raiders. I'd rather have him over Jimmy G, to be honest. But
where would you place him?
I'll probably put him off last season, and I don't know what to expect from him this season. He might trend down. I'll probably put him right in front of Dak Prescott in the 5 tier.
Yeah. So I too had him in tier 5 on my list. I think he doesn't have enough around him. I think when Matt Patricia is calling your offensive plays, that's a problem. So they're getting Bill O'Brien back in New England, and he's a better play caller, more experienced, and so I think it'll hopefully look a little bit better than it was last year for him. But I think even his rookie year when he made the Pro Bowl, that was a questionable put in for Pro Bowl. I think he's someone who is just kind of relies on his accuracy and makes these safe plays. I don't know if he can make it to the playoffs in this AFC conference where you've got all these good quarterbacks.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be interesting to see how they stack up in the AFC East this year now that you got Aaron to Josh Allen and himself. But I don't hate the tier 5 placement. I don't know what the Patriots' ceiling is with him at quarterback.
Yeah, his rookie season was actually really good. Like, I don't know, they made the playoffs.
I mean, it was okay.
They made the playoffs. They got fucking destroyed by the Bucks. I mean, not the Bucks.
The Bills.
The Bills in the first round. But I was watching Tom Brady's first game in New England. Mac Jones went against Tom Brady, and the Patriots actually didn't do that bad. And Mac Jones was actually outplaying Tom Brady, and Tom Brady had all those weapons. So I'm a big believer in him, but lately he's been kind of suspect.
Yeah, I don't want to count him out yet because again, Matt Patricia should not be calling plays. We'll see how he does under Bill O'Brien, who's actually an offensive play caller.
yeah.
Um, but it's going to be tough for him in that conference and in that division.
All right. My buddy, he's watching the stream actually. He wants us to skip to Trey Lance real quick.
Yeah.
So
okay.
if we could, because he's on his break, so let's just do Trey Lance.
Okay. I didn't plan on doing Trey Lance since he's not starting. But, yeah, go ahead. Where do you think he's ranked?
So Trey Lance, man, he had a lot of hype coming onto the 49ers. They traded three first rounders for him. For 3 first rounders, you got to be fucking tier 1, tier 2, or else you're a bust. So what I've seen from him so far, like he played against Chicago Bears week 1, and you know my buddy likes to give him an excuse. Oh, the weather was bad, but even seeing that, I'm like, damn, like he doesn't look like he was worth 3 first round picks. You're probably better off taking Mac Jones. As far as his skill set, he looks like he's a good thrower. You know, he looks like he has an arm. I don't think we're gonna see him like fully develop under Kyle. I think Kyle is gonna like restrain him and just keep him as like a system quarterback. So even if he does have like a Josh Allen or like a Mahomes ceiling, we probably won't see it because of how the 49ers offenses ran. He's going to be throwing screens. He's going to be doing like a lot of misdirections, a lot of throwing screens, a lot of slants. So yeah. As far as tiers, from what I've seen, I'll probably put him in front of Jordan Love at that tier 5 spot, just because we haven't seen too much, and from what we have seen for 3 first round picks, I would be mad as fuck.
You said above Jordan Love?
Yeah, so right there. I mean, actually, I'll put him in the front of tier 5, so above Kirk Cousins. Yeah, because he okay, so you trade 3 first round picks from him, and he can't even start over the walk-on Brock Purdy. Fucking, he's Madden auto, like you know when Madden creates random players for you, like when you sim like 25 years into the future, you're gonna get a guy like Brock Purdy, just like a random ass person. They got Brock Purdy out of nowhere, and he looks like he's like amazing, but Trey Lance can't beat that out. And you traded 3 first round picks for him, so that's how I kind of see it. Maybe Lance beats him out for the starting spot. Maybe that's a big maybe. And even if he does, and let's say Trey Lance has a bad like 5 first games of the season or whatever, they're gonna put Brock Purdy back in, and Trey Lance is gonna ride the bench the whole season. So he has a very short leash. He can't make a lot of mistakes. That's what sucks. He doesn't. It's not like they have like a trash dude on the bench that they don't want to put, and then Trey Lance can just make all these mistakes. So Lance, when he does get an opportunity, he actually has to produce. He can't fuck up and lose to the Bears. Even if it is raining, you got to win that game. You can't lose that. Yeah. Because even in that,
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Even in that game, like Trey Lance didn't look amazing. I know it was a running game, but come on, man, like can't lose to the Bears, motherfuckers. They sold my parlay that game. You know that? I had the 49ers winning. They had like a minus. I don't know if you know how spreads work, but it was minus 7.5. The 49ers winning that game. Yeah. And they lost. Yeah. They lost like 21. I don't know, 13.
Yeah.
So you gotta win. When you sell my money, I'm gonna be mad at you. I'm not gonna like you. I'm gonna take it personally if you fuck with my money. So Trey Lance, you gotta prove yourself. You haven't proved yourself. You can't beat out this Madden auto-generated quarterback. So that's why I have him at the 5. Maybe he can develop. I think his ceiling can be like if everything goes right, maybe a Jalen Hurts. That's a big maybe.
Wow, that's a big maybe is right.
Yeah, maybe a Jalen Hurts. If maybe all the doubters were wrong, like, oh, Trey Lance is the best. If I'm wrong, he's going to be either a Jalen Hurts or he's going to stay where he's at, kind of like maybe a Justin Fields, like kind of just being reckless. He might just be reckless, but we'll see what happens. But what do you think?
I think you're being too generous with the 5 tier. Uh,
Oh, too
yeah,
generous.
he is bad. There's no covering it up. The Niners now, the word is they've moved on. Purdy is the guy. Uh, Lance is on the bench now. I don't think they're really getting any offers for him. Um, and it's a problem. He can't really play the quarterback position. You look at uh, Jimmy Garoppolo won in San Francisco. Brock Purdy undefeated in San Francisco. Nick Mullins
He was good
did
too, a little bit.
he did decent
Yeah.
in San Francisco. Trey Lance can't do it in San Francisco. His deep balls are wobbly ducks. He I don't know what it is. He was not recruited at quarterback coming out of high school, and then he went to one of the Dakota
North Dakota.
schools. Yeah, North Dakota State FCS.
Yeah.
He played one game the year before he was drafted, 50% completion. I don't think the completion is the accuracy is improving itself. So I would have him at the bottom of the tier 6 in that Baker Mayfield company. Um, yeah, I don't see it that ever resurfacing. Brock Purdy is the guy in San Francisco.
So,
As far as I know,
would you say it's too early to call him a bust?
no, he's a bust.
Oh, he is a bust. You're just gonna put that label on him?
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
gonna put that label on him. The San Francisco 49ers messed up. I said it. I said it then. They should have stayed at whatever pick they had, because I think it was right before the Bears. They could have had Justin Fields. They could have had Mac Jones.
Yeah.
Instead, they traded up 3 first-round picks to get a guy nobody else was gonna take, and he's a bust. They have to live with that, and I think they've moved on. I don't think they're fighting in it.
And 3 first-round picks is a lot. Like, cause
Yeah.
Jalen Ramsey, like one of the best corners in the league, you got him for like a Dolphins got him for like a third or fourth rounder, or like a fourth or fifth. And
Yeah.
Devontae Adams, one of the best receivers in the NFL, a first and a second. So you're
Yeah.
telling me you can't even get 3 first-rounders for like a Pro Bowl top talent, but but for Trey Lance,
It's a bust.
yeah, like
There's
fuck,
no way around it.
god damn, like I'm actually glad, because if they actually drafted like Mac Jones, or if they had a good quarterback, they would have won at least one Super Bowl by now. But because of that move, that set them back a few years, and they're not going to win a Super Bowl
Yeah.
until they get it right.
Because what draft capital, what prospects were they not able to get because they traded for Lance? It was a big mistake.
Yeah, like, I mean, they're still going to be a good team, just because.
Oh yeah, no, they're fine.
Just because the coaching staff and the players, they're already established. Nick Bosa, Fred Warner, they already have a system. But imagine how much better they would have been if they hit on that pick. Even draft like a defensive player. I don't know what defensive players were there at that time. Maybe like, because offense, I think they're set. They're gonna score what they score. But defense, like, that's their strong. Like, I think that's their strong suit.
Yeah.
So
Well, even like I said, had they stayed where they were,
yeah,
you get a Fields, you get a Mac Jones, it would have been better than what they got in Lance.
yeah. Lance, I think they saw Lance as like the next Mahomes. Like, they thought Lance was. I don't know if it was the curly hair. I don't know what it was. Maybe it was the light skin comparison with Mahomes and Lance. I don't know, but fuck. I mean, I'm a Raiders fan, so 49ers making bad moves. I'm all here for it. But Lance, he has to earn that respect. He hasn't done anything in the league yet, except lose to the Bears and then lose the starting spot to the second string. Maybe he was a third string at some point too. Behind Nick Mullen. Like, I don't even know. This guy came out of nowhere and he was good. So let's get.
Last pick in the draft beat him out. So I'm not impressed.
Yeah, you trade 3 first-round picks, and the last pick in the draft is doing good. So, I mean, maybe you give him a chance first. They're probably gonna start back pretty though. So, I mean, that's where we have him. I can't really say too much. I know a lot of Niner fans that treat Lance like he was their savior, like he's the next Mahomes. Well, first of all, there's never going to be another Mahomes. Mahomes is one of one. Yeah, like Lance. I don't know what Lance can be. I don't know his ceiling. maybe.
One thing I would say to all 49ers fans out there, move on from Trey Lance.
Yeah,
That's just all you got to do.
Trey Lance is cooked, man. Like he is
Yeah.
done. But yeah, you want to move on?
Yeah, so we can go back to the AFC East. We have one quarterback left. That's Tua Tagovailoa, however you want to say it.
Yeah.
Where do you have him ranked?
So I probably have him. I know Dolphins fans are like, oh, we didn't lose a game when he was starting or something like that, or I don't know, when he was healthy, we didn't lose any games. But for where um, he was drafted before Justin Herbert, so
Yes, he was.
so I see him as a bust as far as like draft selection. Like you could have got someone like him in like third or fourth round, like some random dude from a random college. But he had that. He's from Alabama, right? He had that Alabama hype.
Yep.
Maybe since after his injury, because I know he got hurt before he entered the NFL. That's what's kind of holding him back. But now he's
Yeah,
dealing with
he was beat up a lot.
concussion stuff, brain damage. Um, so it's pretty scary with him. He's left-handed. I already don't like left-handed quarterbacks. I can't remember the last good one, to be honest. As far as IQ, he doesn't have that. He doesn't have very good IQ. When I watch him play, his his throwing strength isn't that good. Tyreek Hill's like, oh, he's super accurate, but the balls are fucking like so slow, like it's going in slow motion when he throws the ball. So, can you win a Super Bowl with Tua? Probably not. Probably not. Can you make the playoffs? Probably, if everything goes your way. You could probably scrape.
Yeah.
You could probably scrape a playoff
Yeah.
spot if everything else goes good. The Dolphins could be really scary if they moved on from this guy and they just got like a fucking like a decent quarterback. But Tua, he's shaky. I don't trust Tua. I don't want to put like. Do I want to put money on Tua to win the game? No. So I don't trust him. Even with Waddle and Tyreek, I don't trust him.
Yeah.
So I probably put him probably in the 5 or 6. I'll probably say probably 5 behind Mac Jones.
Okay.
Yeah.
Still above Dak.
Yeah, still above. I'd rather take Tua than Dak. Yeah, Dak is horrible. But yeah, what do you think? Do you think he's a bust for where he was drafted? I think it was top 5.
Yeah.
Do you think?
I think he's a bust because I don't know how many years they have left of him. I'm
Yeah.
not joking. I
Yeah.
I thought he should have retired after this year.
Uh-huh.
Um, I've done a little bit of stuff on the side with CTE. I did a little project on that and a report. So I don't think it's something he should be playing around with. I think he really needs to consider retiring. It's not worth it at this point. He's made enough money. Like if you haven't saved a couple of the million that you've made, that's
Yeah.
kind of embarrassing. Um, and don't be fooled. Now you mentioned his record last year. They were 8-5 when he started.
Oh, okay.
So it's only 3 games above 500. He was 7-5 the year before that, 6-3 the year before that.
Yeah.
His accuracy, which is something you expected to be good, coming out of Alabama because he didn't have the strongest arm.
Mm-hmm.
They were saying he's accurate. So there's 3 receivers, Jalen Waddle, Tyreek Hill, and then the tight end Gesicki. They made up, I think, 87% of his completions.
Yeah.
When he targeted them, he was 66% passing. When he targeted everybody else, it was like 54%. So his accuracy is questionable. And I think he only was what he was this past year because he was throwing to Tyreek Hill and Waddle, who are 2 guys, when you put the ball in their hand,
They're gonna rack
good
up
night.
yards.
Exactly.
So yeah.
So I don't disagree. I had him in tier 5 in my bracket. I'm not buying what people are selling. And I do agree. If you want to say that because he was a 5th overall pick, was he a bust? I do think so. Not only because I don't think he's got much further to go, but because I don't even think he's that great for them right now. and I think the ceiling would be a lot higher if they tried to go after a different quarterback.
Yeah, man. If they would have drafted Justin Herbert
Yeah.
instead of Tua, imagine how good they would have been right now. Like,
Yeah, there's a lot of good things going on in Miami. Their defense is good. Their head coach did pretty decent last year for
yeah,
his first
Flores,
year.
right?
Um,
Is it Brian Flores?
no, it's that Mike
Oh,
McDaniel. He was
Yeah.
the offensive coordinator from San Francisco.
Oh yeah, he's a guru. I love him.
Yeah, so uh, and they've got good receivers out there, good weapons. So it'll be interesting to see how much longer he's their guy. But I don't disagree with the tier fives. That's where he is.
Yeah.
So we'll head to the AFC North now, a quarterback loaded division, and we can start with Lamar Jackson. Where do you have him?
So Lamar Jackson, man. So we all witnessed his MVP season. Like during his MVP season, he looked like a generational talent. Like he looked unstoppable. I remember the Patriots were undefeated that season. I think they still had Tom Brady, and he was the team to stop their winning streak. I think they were
Yeah.
they were 8-0 middle of the season. I think it was like a Sunday night game or like a third. I don't know. I think it was Sunday night, and he
Yeah.
actually ended their winning streak. So MVP Lamar was an amazing player, but as of recently, I think he was injured last season, or no, he was injured. I think the Ravens, yeah, Ravens made the playoffs. He didn't want to play, and that was kind of weird. That like, if it was Mahomes or like a Josh Allen or even maybe Aaron Rodgers, if they're a little hurt, I mean they're still gonna play. Like I feel like that sent like a weird message to the locker room. You know, like that was kind of weird. I think all of his teammates expected to play. I think you saw clips of John Harbaugh. He was like kind of irritated when the reporters asked him about Lamar Jackson. He would kind of like have this look on his face, like, man, he should be playing, but he's not. He's just being kind of
Yeah.
petty. Maybe it was because of his contract.
I think so.
Yeah, it was probably that because they didn't give him an extension.
Yeah.
This was kind of like his prove it year, and I think he was doing good, and then he got hurt. So
Yeah. Yeah.
so
So where do you see him in the hierarchy now?
um, so I put him at probably right in front of Derek Carr, I would say. Because with the right pieces around him, he can be pretty lethal. Like he's still a quarterback you have to watch out for. With the right pieces around him, he'll be pretty good. But last season it kind of ended off weird, and this new season they have one of the worst receiving cores in the league. They have Odell, I think it's Rashad Bateman and another dude. Like it's fucking terrible. So I think as far as targets, they didn't do him justice. They don't have a good running back. Offensive line is kind of average. Defense is average too, so it's setting up to be like a bad season. But if I'm just looking at him from an individual,
Right.
I still give him respect. I'd rather take him over Derek Carr. Brock Purdy is definitely more reliable, and Kyler Murray is just like a jackass sometimes. So I'll take Lamar Jackson, and yeah, you can go ahead and tell me what you think
Yeah.
about him.
Yeah. So you don't think Beckham will be a big boost at this point?
He probably won't play the full season. He'll probably get hurt like week 2.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Okay. Well, I think they're adding pieces, which is going to help him.
yeah,
I think Beckham is someone you do have to cover. I think Bateman is getting better. Um, obviously they still have Mark Andrews, who's probably one of the more reliable tight ends in all of national football. So I didn't think I was going to be the one who was the more supportive of Lamar. I'm one of the bigger critics, but I do think he's a tier two guy. I think if you look at the Ravens with him playing and without him playing, there's a big difference.
Mhm.
And in terms of regular season performance, because I didn't really want to factor postseason too much into this tiers because that's kind of a different atmosphere. But in terms of that, he's one of the most successful regular season quarterbacks
yeah,
active right now going.
yeah.
And so I actually think because of his dual threat package that I would put him in tier two. I don't know if you would oppose to that.
Tier 2. I don't mind
Or
tier. I don't really mind tier 2, but throughout this season, I feel like his value is going to drop tremendously. So I'm kind of going off last season and then
Yeah.
what I think is going to happen this upcoming season. And it's looking like it's going to just be a repeat of last season, like no targets. He has Odell. I'm not very high on Odell. I don't know about you. But on a good team, he's like your third best receiver, maybe fourth. But he's their number one. And this dude's coming off an ACL injury. So I don't have a lot of
second one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
that's fine.
I think
that's fine.
Another bad year-ish kind of removed from that MVP season could make the argument that he started down the ranks. I could see that. So we'll move now on to Deshaun Watson, Cleveland Browns. Coming back now, he had missed the year, didn't really play well when he returned last year. Now he's going to get back into the swing of things. Do you see him returning, or is he done?
Returning, like, is he going to play games?
Like, no, is he returning back to what he was?
Oh, okay. Yeah, last season he came back, last half of the season. He was actually really rusty. You could tell, like, the balls were pretty bad that he was throwing. Cleveland Browns, man. I think they traded a lot for him and they paid him a lot of money. So they're really banking on him being like that guy. I think with the full offseason he has now, and then he's getting more used to the offense. So I expect it to be like way more smoother than it was last year. Coming back, I probably have him above Lamar in that tier 2. Just because I have a lot of respect for him. If you've been watching the NFL since he got in the league, he was actually really good with the Texans. And the Texans are a trash organization. They're horrific. All he had was DeAndre Hopkins too, and they actually made the playoffs. I think he won like 12 games with them. So he's respectable. I just got to give him like a full season, and he'll be good in the right offense. So yeah.
So you think he has a return back to what he was now that he's back in the groove of things?
Yeah, because he didn't face any. If I remember correctly, he didn't face any big injury. He just had to stop playing football because of the allegations. So it's not like he's coming off a ACL or he fucking hurt his leg or hurt his arm.
Yeah,
he's Deshaun Watson. You know, people have been disrespecting him a lot. So maybe he wants to come out and make his name known again. So yeah, I give him his respect. Like, so yeah. What do you think?
Yeah, I wouldn't be opposed to that. I think when you take a year off of doing anything, you're just a little rusty coming back. And he wasn't really able to be a part of all the practices and all the preseason training camp and stuff. So I think it was a tough situation for him since he was coming to a new team to not have played and to have to make that transition to a new team. I did have him in tier 3 because I do want to see it, but I wouldn't be opposed to the tier 2 placement. But because there's no doubt what he was when he was good, and I think I had made a mistake earlier. Desmond Ridder had played and went 3-3. I think it was he that went 3-3. Played in 4 games.
Yeah,
but he did have his moments last year, but then he had his games that were great. I think he turns that around, and I think Cleveland will be competitive in a tough division with him because I think he'll get back into the groove. Now we'll go to Cincinnati Bengals quarterback Joe Burrow. Where do you have him in your hierarchy?
So Joe Burrow, a lot of people overrate Joe Burrow. They say he's better than Mahomes. I don't believe that at all. So it kind of rubs me the wrong way. The way Bengals fans, the way that Bengals mayor fucking was like, what do you say? He's like Arrowhead. Burrow owns Arrowhead or something.
Burrowhead.
Yeah, Burrowhead. That's just weird. But fucking Burrow, he seems humble. He seems like he gets along with his teammates. So he's a good locker room guy as far as skill. He doesn't have the arm that Mahomes and Allen have, but he does have the IQ. He has that competitiveness. He has that awareness. He's gonna get you through the playoffs. I think he's arrived already. I think we all know that. They built a great team around him because the Bengals used to be horrific before they got him, and now they're good. So he's turned around the franchise for sure. I'll probably put him in that tier 1 next to Josh Allen. Oh no,
Yeah,
I put him. I
huh?
put Josh Allen ahead of him.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I agree. I had Burrow in my tier one, but I did have him ahead of Josh Allen because I had Allen in my tier two. But this is somebody you trade 3 first round picks for. Like you said, he's completely changed the Bengals organization. And against Mahomes, he's beat him I think 3 times. Mahomes just tried to beat him. So this guy can compete with the best quarterback in the league. That's what
Yeah.
you want to see as a front office. We found our guy, and yeah, I believe he's one of the top two, top three quarterbacks in the NFL. I agree. Last quarterback in the AFC North is Kenny Pickett. He'll be coming back for a second year. What do you make of that?
So Kenny Pickett. I think they started off the season with the other guy. I forgot his name. I think.
Yeah, Trubisky.
Yeah, they did Trubisky, and the whole season they should have done Pickett to kind of get him ready. That should have been his rookie season. But from what I've seen, I think when he came in, he actually did okay. He got like some rushing touchdowns in the end zone. I think one game I saw.
Mhm.
You could tell the locker room they like Kenny Pickett. The organization believes in him. He just hasn't. It's just a small sample size. So, um, from what I've seen, I haven't seen like any like elite characteristics from him, like a Mahomes like throwing power or like Josh Allen like throwing power or anything. But maybe once he gets more established, he can be their franchise quarterback. Because I haven't seen anything that's like, oh, you know what, this guy sucks. Um, the Steelers they played the Raiders the last week, but I didn't even really watch that game because it's. I was like, fuck, we're out the playoffs already, so like there's no point in watching this. And then Derek Carr, that was
Yeah.
his last game. So yeah, I don't have any animosity towards him. He seems pretty legit. Uh, so
Where would you rank?
I'll probably put him at shoot up because he hasn't proven anything. I'll probably put him above Jordan Love in that 5 tier. Yeah, right there.
Yeah, I don't hate that ranking. I had him in tier five in my list. I think the group of guys that he's around in our tier five
Hmm.
is about right. I think his touchdown interception ratio, he had more picks than touchdowns last year.
Oh shit.
But I mean it's a rookie thing.
Yeah.
Trevor Lawrence has 17 picks. I think he had the same problem. So he just had to get used to the league. The Steelers will be an interesting story this year. They've got a good defense. TJ Watt coming back. If he can stay healthy, they have some skill players. So Kenny Pickett, I think, given his leadership qualities, I think if they can rally around him and they play hard for him
Hmm.
as he gets more experienced, maybe his ceiling will be higher. But as of right now, yeah, I think he's tier five is a good spot for him.
Sounds good.
So yeah, go ahead.
Nice. It sounds good. Let's move on.
Yeah, and so we'll head to our last division now, the AFC South. We'll start with Houston's rookie quarterback, C.J. Stroud. What do you think of him now in his rookie camp?
Uh, so Stroud, I wanted him to be a Raider, man. I thought the Raiders were gonna trade up, but they didn't. So he unfortunately went to the Texans. Um, the Texans, they got to build from scratch, man. All they have is that one tackle. I forgot his name, but he got paid recently. He's his own agent, but he's a good starting piece for the Texans since they're rebuilding. In college, I know he had a lot of hype. I forgot who he beat. I think he beat Georgia, if I'm not mistaken.
It was close.
Oh, it was close. Okay. Well, he almost
He-
beat.
he-
Oh, didn't their kicker miss a field goal? Is that why they lost?
yeah,
Oh,
and
okay.
it wasn't even close. Yeah.
Yeah, it was that game. Well, if he can almost take down, one of the best college defenses we've seen in a while, then I think he should be okay in the NFL. I think he's gonna be good. He's gonna be solid. He's gonna probably struggle his first year, just like all quarterbacks.
Right.
But we'll see how good he really is. So I probably put him starting off probably right in front of Bryce Young.
Right. And better than Bryce.
Yeah.
Um, So I would disagree a little bit.
Uh huh.
I think the problem with Ohio State quarterbacks, because they don't usually transition, is that in the Big Ten they have the best offensive line, they have the best receivers, they have the best running back, and so it's not always a great sample. Last year he was pretty heavily reliant on two receivers, and his completion percentage actually dipped from the year before. Um, I'm gonna need to see it. The game against Georgia was special. I'll give him that.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna need to see it now in the NFL level because he's at Houston, where he doesn't really have a lot of help at receiver. This is a guy that was throwing to Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave, Jackson Smith-Njigba, Marvin Harrison Jr.
Yeah.
Now he's throwing to Nico Collins and
Brandon Cooks.
Brandon, or is I don't even know if Cooks
Oh, he's not there anymore.
It's Robert Woods.
Oh.
So that's not the greatest supporting cast in the world. It's a defensive head coach. So I think he's gonna be someone that is gonna struggle in his first year, and it's gonna take time, and they're gonna have to nurture that and make sure the expectations are low, and then they'll be all right. But I had him in my tier 6. I wouldn't be opposed if you want to put him at the back end of tier 5.
The back end?
Okay, you want to put him above Jordan Love?
Above Kenny Pickett, he's gonna be better than Pickett.
Okay.
It's because I rather have C.J. Stroud than like individually, not like the teams, like, because it's like team
Right.
success that we're kind of going off of. Like if we're looking at the individual player, I would rather have C.J. Stroud over Jones and Kirk Cousins.
Okay.
What about you? Would you take Kirk and Daniel Jones over Stroud, or what do you think?
If I'm taking it for a year, yes. If I'm doing it for the long term because he's younger and he has more upside,
Yeah.
I would rather have him than those two.
Oh,
But
okay.
in the first year, I need to see him transition to the NFL. But he could be the guy that you take in this rookie class as your big
Yeah, he's gonna.
guy.
I believe in him. I think he's gonna do special things, and that's cool where you have him. That's fine.
Yeah. And so we'll go to another rookie, Anthony Richardson out of the University of Florida. Colts owner has been bullish that he wants Anthony Richardson to start right away. What do you make of him and how he'll pan out?
So I think we can all agree he reminds us a lot of Lamar Jackson, just his build. For the Colts, they needed this, man, because their quarterback situation was pretty horrific with Matt Ryan, and then they had another guy, I forgot his name. Richardson. I mean, the Colts are really like a run heavy team, so I don't know, like, it's kind of weird. I don't know how they're gonna use him yet, because they want to base the offense around Jonathan Taylor. So we'll see how they use him. As far as his skill set, I know he had like the best combine of all time or something. When that occurred, his arm strength looks good. It was looking like the Raiders were gonna make a move on him because of how good he was pre-draft. I'm actually a believer in him. Like, I don't have any hard feelings towards him. I haven't seen too much of his college tape, to be honest, but he does.
Not great.
It's not great. Oh, okay. Well, his ceiling, it looks like it might be like Lamar Jackson. Like he has all the, or maybe a Deshaun Watson, because they're both like tall and kind of mobile. So we'll see. I'll probably put him. I'd probably put him. Like, yeah, I'll probably take him. Put him in that 4 tier above Jared Goff. That's what I would do. Or what do you think? What do you think?
So, you said above Goff. Yeah, I am against Anthony Richardson. I'm not gonna deny that.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people have been fooled by this guy's combine.
Yeah.
I mean, you can take the combine for what it is, but I gotta see it on the field. And when I watched Florida this past year, they were bad, and a lot of it was because they couldn't get in a consistent pattern of completing 3 passes in a row. I'm not convinced that this guy can throw the ball. He's bad. His completion percentage is something that could be. I mean, it could be in the low 50s, 51, 52.
Yeah.
Don't be surprised if it dips down into 49. I mean, it's just he's gonna have to show and prove that, hey, I can sit in the pocket and throw the ball. Is he gonna be an athletic monster and run for a bunch of yards? I'm sure he is, but they already have Jonathan Taylor, like you said, who's running the football. They're going to have to be able to move the ball through the air. Can he do that? I don't know. I had him in tier 6. I at least think for right now he should go down to tier 5. It just depends where you wanna put him in that.
How would you rate his arm strength? Is it like average, above average?
His arm strength is through the roof.
Oh, okay.
But what good is that if you can't
Located?
complete the pass? Yeah, correct.
Oh, okay. So what do you think? You think he's forest core, or you think you want to put him in like 5?
Oh, he's got. I've got to say he's got to at least come down one. I won't insist that he be in 6 because you like him, but he should be at least in 5 somewhere.
Yeah, that combine it persuaded me a lot. Like he looked like a god out there, you know. So
You think better than Daniel Jones?
yeah, definitely better than Daniel Jones. Kirk Cousins' consistency probably saves him, so you could just leave
Okay.
him like that. Yeah, that's cool.
Okay. Uh, uh, so now Ryan Tannehill, he's starting to age. He's in Tennessee still. It looks like they're going to be rolling with him right now over Will Levis. What do you make of Tannehill at this point in his career?
Tannehill, he's pretty horrific. Uh, he's like an uglier Jimmy G. I feel like he's indecisive, no arm strength, not fast, not really any IQ. He's holding the Titans back. Like when you play the Titans, you don't have to worry about Tannehill. You just worry about Derrick Henry, and you'll be good. Um, I'm glad they picked Will Levis because he's kind of like a gunslinger. That's what they need because of
Yeah.
how much teams play up to the line to stop Derrick Henry. Uh, yeah, with Ryan Tannehill, I don't know why he has a lot of fans. He's not that good. I know he's made the playoffs, but
Right.
it's basically because the team's carrying him. It's like a San Francisco situation. The team's carrying him. He's not really doing anything for them. If anything, he's holding the team back. So he's one of the worst quarterbacks in the NFL, in my opinion. Um, so yeah, where do you have him?
Yeah, no, I don't disagree with a lot of what you said. I had him in my tiers. I think at this point in his career, I was bigger on him when he was younger because he was more athletic,
Yeah,
and he had a better arm. But he is showing signs to me. He's no longer somebody that can. I agree with you. I think he at this point in his career, I think he's holding back. I think he's a weak link. I think he can still complete a pass. He can't make big plays. He's not gonna, escape outside the pocket and do something.
hmm
I agree with you. I don't think teams are worrying about him when the Titans are worrying. We just can't let Derrick Henry run all over us.
hmm
And I'm not gonna be surprised if after their bye week, you've got Will Levis coming in and getting the snaps.
yeah. Will Levis could start pretty like way sooner than we expected because
Yeah.
Ryan Tannehill is that bad. I think their whole coaching staff is pretty good in Tennessee. I forgot the coach, Mike Bravel. I think that's his name. He's a really good
Mhm.
coach, and
Yeah.
I have a lot of respect for coaches that can do a lot with shitty quarterbacks. Like Kyle Shanahan, he has my respect. Mike Vrabel, he's made the playoffs with Ryan Tannehill. So imagine them with like a good quarterback, with like good
Right.
arm strength, good IQ, good awareness, and not someone that's a liability. So yeah, with Will Levis, they should be a little bit, at least a little bit better than they were with Ryan Tannehill.
Yeah. So now we've got our last quarterback of the day, starter for the Jaguars, Trevor Lawrence. What do you see him?
So Trevor Lawrence, coming out of college, he had like a lot of hype, and he's like a big college name. I think once he got to the NFL, like reality hit him in the face like pretty hard. Um, on the Jaguars, he's not overpowered. Like he's not like, oh shit, Trevor Lawrence. It's not like, oh shit, we play Mahomes. Oh shit, we play Joe Burrow. We played Trevor Lawrence. We could probably win this. The Raiders should have beat them, but they blow the lead. I forgot it was like a 10-point lead. So
Yeah.
I don't see him as like this elite guy like a Joe Burrow. He could reach that potential. He just needs to make that next step. I think they have the pieces on offense for him. I think he's a good player. He's solid. I'll probably put him in that third tier. I'll probably put him ahead of Brock Purdy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you pretty much read my mind. That's the way that our tier thing has shaken down. I would have put him in. I had him in my tier 3, and I probably would have put him ahead of Purdy.
Mm-hmm.
I think, especially next year. I think his first year was a bit of a joke with, why am I blanking on that coach's name? Urban Meyer coming in.
Mm-hmm.
That was a joke.
That was a funny season.
And so that whole season was bad, including for him statistically. And last year, Doug Peterson coming in, team was more focused. They're keeping Christian Kirk and the other guy that was there with him, and they're adding Calvin Ridley. They still have Evan Ingram. That's only going to help him. Calvin Ridley is a very good receiver. I know he's been suspended the past couple of years.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about him.
Yeah, I know. Most people did, but he's coming back, and he's coming back for him, so it's a weapon for Lawrence. I think he'll continue to improve, and given his dual threat capability, I like him right there at the top of tier 3.
All right, sounds good. Oh, real quick, looking back at our list, is there any changes you want to do, or does it look good so far?
Yeah, I think for the most part, especially since we're doing this with two people's opinions, I think it looks good for the most part.
You know what? Okay, so I like doing these tier lists because you kind of get the perspective of your partner, like if your partner's view on the NFL. So we kind of have like the same perspective, like on as far as like talent goes on quarterbacks. Because some people
it wasn't too far apart.
Some people would have put fucking Josh Allen number 1, or some people would have put Aaron Rodgers. Well, I put Aaron Rodgers at 1. You put him at 2. So
yeah,
it's kind of cool how we kind of have like the same thing, which is good because I think I have like a reasonable view on the NFL as far as like quarterbacks and the other positions. A lot of people, they go off like fantasy stats, like, oh, Justin Hurts was the best fantasy quarterback, so he's the best. He gets the most stats, like that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's not how I do things.
Yeah, no. What I look at is like a few things, like talent, like competitiveness. Have you done it in the past? Like, what's your history? Can you get me down the field? Can I trust you? And a lot of quarterbacks in that 6 tier, and most of them in the 5 tier. I think 5, 6, some in 4, but mostly 5 and 6. None of those dudes can get you down the field, like if you really need them to, like in the NFL. So I think we did good on this list. So yeah, guys, this was our quarterback tier list. I hope you guys enjoyed our analysis and breakdown. We're going to be doing other positional tier lists. We're going to do wide receivers next, then cornerbacks, and then defensive ends and all that stuff. We want to get this out the way now, so that way when the season starts, we can kind of like do game predictions. Oh yeah, we're also going to do in-season predictions for a few teams. Maybe not every team, because I don't think anyone cares about like the Colts or like the Texans. They're going to lose every game basically. So for probably like the main teams like 49ers, Raiders, Cowboys, those big name teams we'll probably do them for. Nick is going to be my main co-host when I do these podcasts. My name is Ivan, like I mentioned. I might have another co-worker that I work with come on here. His name's Jasper. He knows a lot about the NFL. There might be some streams where we all do it once all at once, like Nick and Jasper and me. So we might do that. Might have another friend just to get more perspectives on the podcast. If you guys haven't already, please subscribe to the channel and like the video. I'm going to be making, there's the YouTube channel we have. I'm going to make a Twitter to post all the links and kind of promote it more. I'm probably going to stream it on either Kick or Twitch. just so if you guys want to see it live, because this is all going to be live. When it hits YouTube, it's going to be edited just because we had a lot of errors in the beginning, in the middle of the video. But yeah, guys, I hope you enjoyed it. Nick, if you want to say anything before I close it out.
Yeah. Well, thank you for having me on. It's
Yeah,
been a long absence for me from the podcast world, mainly because I'm not a tech savvy person. So I appreciate you taking care of that
yeah.
and having my voice on here. So thank you very much, and I'm looking forward. I'm looking forward to breaking it down throughout the year.
Yeah, little bit about me and Nick. We both go to school.
Yeah, no, I don't mind.
Okay,
I'm a proud Fresno State
okay,
Bulldog.
yeah. We both go to Fresno State. So I actually had a class with Nick, and he brought me onto our football office to kind of get involved and do an internship there. So I appreciate Nick for doing that. It means a lot. Down the line, me and Nick we're gonna have a lot of conversations. It's gonna be fun. I can't wait. I'm looking forward to it. And yeah, man, we're just two guys that love the NFL and kind of want to just put our opinions out on the internet and see if people agree, see if people disagree. And even if they do disagree, that's fine too. I'm all here for it. Maybe you want to get on the podcast with us one time and just argue why we're wrong, or maybe why we're right.
I would be
Yeah,
totally open to doing that. I'd love to hear other people's opinions.
that would be fun. Maybe we have like a day
Yeah.
where
Yeah.
it's like a Tuesday, like we have a sub or like someone just come on. Hey, bro, you were wrong on this shit. Like, why the fuck would you say this and that? So
Yeah.
that would be awesome. That'd be really
Yeah.
fun. So yeah, Nick, if you don't have anything else to add, please like and comment, subscribe, and we'll get back to you guys later. Thanks.